Take her for a test drive. And you'll agree. Zagreb zloty klient. Take her for a test drive. And you'll agree. Zagreb zloty klient.
What country did it come from?
It no longer exists, but take her for a test drive, and you'll agree. Zagreb zloty klient. Zagreb zloty klient. Take her for a test drive, and you'll agree. Zagreb zloty klient. Zagreb zloty klient. And you'll agree.
Hey everybody, welcome to these, well, we're now Mr. Burns' place. That cutthroat old businessman. But Mike's still with me.
I sure hope I am.
Yeah. FATALVISION will be joining us shortly. So, welcome to our first stream that really has nothing to do with video games. We are branching out, folks. So
well, hopefully there are folks viewing us and that our non-video game discussion is still going to keep our major audience on board, but no one's in the chat just yet, so...
Nope, but we'll give them time, they'll show up. So, in the meantime, yep, we are looking at Mr. Burns' place. I never thought it would come to this. The clown show has been put on hiatus for retooling.
Yep. And then, one day you're the biggest thing in the world, and the next day you find yourself working in a box factory.
Well, I heard that.
Half of this podcast may or may not be us just trading quotes that are just like, soldered into our brain by now. With each
pretty
other.
much.
They're Sharon and they're Snarb. Hey, what's up?
Huh.
Oh, YouTube's being a dick. Yeah, I don't know. The internet on my phone seems slow today, too. I'm not sure. I don't know if there's some sort of widespread internet bug that's mucking things up. I couldn't tell you.
That working fine for me. How much of the intro did you catch, Snarb?
If she...
Oh, I wish I hadn't killed that fish.
I think I sort of wanted to force a theme with our avatars, and we somehow ended up on Treehouse of Horror references, so I'm the lard lad baiting Homer in with a donut who's still looking despite Paul Anka's song. Paul Anka's guarantee, if you will.
Yep. It's got Paul Anka's guarantee. Guarantee void in Tennessee. That's strange.
Shit. Well, you missed that we played what is the dank miss that I hoped Rob would play, which is the very first dank miss I ever heard, which is the one about crazy Vaclav, i.e.
Exactly
put it in
what it
H.
was.
We
That
no
one.
longer exist, but take it for a test drive and you'll agree. Ça, c'est a flawed deal.
Put it in H. Now, when Fatal Vision comes along, not sure how well you're able to see there, but he's the bad dream house.
Yeah, from the very first treehouse, which I think was actually a little bit more legitimately creepy than the others. Like, it did feel a little bit more horror first. Well,
Yeah.
except that, it still certainly had many gaps for humor. Me, of course, I like, quote the Raven, eat my shorts,
Yeah.
which was sadly taken out of syndication later, but, oh well, it was what it was.
Yeah. He says nevermore, and that's all he ever says. It's funny, I was
Never-
having a conversation about Poe with my stepdaughter recently.
Oh, no shit.
Yep, and naturally I had to bring up the Simpsons version of the Raven.
What did she think about that?
Oh, she's seen it before. She thought it was great.
Awesome.
So, what do you think of the changeover here, Snarb? Now that we're Mr. Burns' place. Speaking
It's
of,
Kern, stupid.
it is Burns. Disregard. So, also for that matter, Mike, what do you think of the background there?
Oh, pretty great. I really like that you added the Burns casino mermaids.
Yes.
Wicked. And we'll take the spruce goose. Hop in. Sir, but I can't.
I said hop in. Yeah. Personally, I'd go with just your standard Mr. Burns. Like the one in the picture.
We could probably almost do the entire podcast on him. It was like, I swear Mr. Burns in the early parts of the show, especially season 2, was like the most important character besides the Simpsons themselves. They had him in many episodes. They loved using him. They really liked having a definitive villain. And, they absolutely did get the most out of him too, I feel. But,
Smithers, I'm home.
what? Already?
Yes. Is it just me or is TV getting worse? It's about the same. Yes, the infamous Bobo episode.
And a classic one that is. Like, I don't know how we're going to approach this, if we should just go over like a sort of general history and then get into like the really big episodes, mention ones that did or did not work. If you have any questions prepared, we can roll off of that.
I wouldn't say I really have questions prepared, but I'm waiting for Fatal to get back so we can really get into the meat of this whole thing. And to see if we get a few more people drifting in.
Right. Righto.
So in the meantime...
hey.
Video Game Doc, how you doing?
Hey, Doc. Snarb, I would like to get to that at some point. Whatever it is, I either haven't gotten to it yet, or it's a huge phantom load of bullshit. But I'll contemplate that as per to the point that I've reached in my own semi-forced Simpsons journey.
Yeah. Well... Anyway, yeah, so we'll definitely get to that at some point. I just couldn't help but to think of actually the first time I saw a full-length Simpsons episode.
Yeah, good. Start with that.
Yeah, it was Simpsons roasting on an open fire.
A very, very, very first one, even.
Yeah, the night it premiered.
Well, I mean, I guess not the first as to...
Notice I said full-length.
Yeah, I was going to say, as everyone may or may not know, comedian Tracy Ullman had her own show in the 80s where Matt Groening's incredibly crude sketches of a yellow family getting up to some odd hijinks was the prototype for what we would eventually know as The Simpsons.
Yeah, we'll get to that later.
I guess I'm not a...
Go ahead.
I guess I'm not a hardcore enough fan because I actually didn't see most of these. But, I mean, I mostly know what were shown in the 138th episode spectacular. And if there are any others, maybe I've seen like one or two errants, but I've never really sat down and viewed the original Simpsons, which, I guess the humor that the show become known for later wasn't quite there yet, so, that's my excuse.
But they were no match for Captain Wacky, later renamed Homer. Well, I just tell you my experiences after seeing the first episode, because I'm pretty sure it aired during the Christmas break from school.
Oh, cool.
Remember going back in my biology class that day, that's all everyone was talking about. This one kid was like, yeah, it was this craziest thing with like these star-headed kids and stuff. But yeah. And then, he went to series after that, and I don't think it's stopped since. Not for any reason.
In defiance of all logic, you are indeed correct. It has not.
Yep. It dethroned the Flintstones a long time ago. I know that.
Yeah, I forget. Wasn't it in the running with some other show for some record that it also broke?
Gunsmoke, maybe?
That might have been it, yeah. Like, the only thing that outdoes it now in television length are soap operas, which have existed since, like, the 60s and 70s. Like,
yeah.
I guess it has I guess it'll never beat, like, General Hospital or,
Days of Our Lives.
Coronation Street for you Brits, but... Or Days of Our Lives, yes. But, those sure are shows that I know absolutely nothing about, so I can't really say more about them.
Like the sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives. My mother used to watch that show all the time, so...
It was even parodied in The Simpsons, appropriately enough. Like the painting of a house. It never ends.
Yeah, and let's not forget, if you're talking about soap operas, there was a... Oh, what do you know? It's Logan. The days
Logan.
of our Bubsy.
I know a few people who would want to talk days of their Bubsies. I could probably talk about days of my Bubsies, but that's not the subject right now, and Rob would probably hit me if I went on that tangent, so that's enough.
Yes. Of course, there was a much bigger soap opera parody on the sister show of The Simpsons.
The Critic?
No. I'm talking about one set in the future.
Oh. Yeah, that is fair to call Futurama that, with Calculon and whatnot.
Yeah, all my circuits. There was that one crossover they did with Futurama once.
I did see that. Honestly, it wasn't bad.
No. What ticked me off, though?
If it crossed over with Family Guy.
Not that it crossed over with Family Guy, because that really highlighted the the difference in humor between the two shows. Family Guy is way more mean-spirited when it comes to their humor.
It really is, and that's all I want to talk about regarding Family Guy.
I want to say this, though. They gave the Simpsons Family Guy crossover a full hour. Futurama was relegated to a half hour.
Oh, rumph. I'm crossing my arms at that.
Yeah. And it's like, most of the Futurama cast made cameos. And they even pointed
it was
that
mostly
out.
Yeah, it was mostly centered on Bender, which, if you were to keep it the runtime relatively economy, then yeah, I'd focus on either Bender or Fry probably, or Leela, like any of the main trio. Like I wouldn't expect an episode all about Zoidberg, but still, while I enjoyed it for what it was, I guess it could have gone bigger. but I guess this is just my intensely hateful bias against Seth MacFarlane speaking.
But yes, Logan, they did do a crossover. It's called Simpsorama.
And it is not bad, like I said. Like, it probably could have been more, but for what it is, I enjoyed it. Considering the... What about Zoidberg? And I'm his friend Jesus.
But, you know, it's
man.
like his whole role in that was basically to say hi, and then, you know, everyone gets a turn to speak, and this concludes his turn.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately. But, maybe I will view that Family Guy crossover someday, just for, you know, like, the difference in humor, like you mentioned, see how that looks. Let me just ask this. There's no Sinatra in the crossover that you remember, is there?
No, not that I recall.
Okay, thank you. Because I did want to say this. There was some episode in, like, the mid-latter 20s, which is... Oh, okay, Doc. Hey, it was brief to have you here, but thank you for dropping in nonetheless. Much appreciated.
Yeah, have a good one. And thanks for coming by.
Oh, what was the name of that episode? Okay, so it's like... no, you know what? I don't want to put the cart before the horse here. We should probably talk some more classic Simpsons before we jump right into my own sort of special angle contribution to this.
Yeah.
But,
well, classic Simpsons. Of course, you got your season 1 stuff, which was definitely a good start.
Yeah, actually, let me pitch that question to you. Season 1 still holds up or pretty rough in your opinion?
Why not both?
Yeah, a friend of mine, also a real Simpsons maniac, Andrew. Andrew is really not a fan of season 1. Like, it just doesn't do a heck of a lot for him, which, you know, I can't see. It is a lot drier than where the show would go lately, but it did have a sort of more unique sort of, what's the word? I want to say realistic atmosphere. It's not quite the word I'm going for, but, like, it definitely had a little bit of a somewhat more cynical affect than where it went. Like, the cynicism would never really die out in the show, but like it would be a nice sliding scale of positivity and getting ahead, and then like real life, oh fuck, that's how it is, sort of back and forth, as the show has just masterfully kept its tone intact for at least the first 8 seasons.
Yeah.
But yes.
Now, as an aside, before we go on with that, Logan, I think Futurama is just the show that can't be killed, because it's come back like 3 times already, or 2 or 3 times anyway.
I will say, just a little sidebar on Futurama, I do think it has been not as fresh as it's been since its original run, that being 4 seasons, but I do appreciate that we did get more, even if its quality isn't quite on point as when the show started out. That said, I haven't gotten to the recent Futuramas that ran, I think, on Hulu at first. I guess there's more accessibility to those now, but...
Yes, and no, Sharon, we cannot talk Adult Swim.
Yeah, no, that would be going off the rails a little bit. I mean,
Yeah.
I would normally not mind discussing... Oh, what's even an Adult Swim? I wouldn't mind discussing some C-Lab 2021, but I'm afraid this isn't the podcast for that.
Right, this is about The Simpsons, and occasionally bring up adjacent shows like Futurama, since it was created by the creator of The Simpsons, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Matt's Groening, as he's been mispronounced. Cartoonist who came up with his Life in Hell comics. I do remember that I do have, or rather my brother has, at least one compilation book on that I believe primarily focused on school. And my favorite bits of those were the teacher archetypes that he did. Like, one of them was like the Fossil, a very, very old teacher where where a warning was given, "It lives." And it's like the disdainful teacher's assistant, as well as the amazing wonder teacher who's never there and leaves most things to the disdainful teacher assistant, and stuff and such. Oh, what a well, yeah, like Groening got a good start doing what he did, but like, goddamn if he didn't luck into the greatest fortune ever since George Lucas.
Yeah.
When he decided to take all the merchandising cuts for Star Wars.
And yes, Sharon, this is all Simpsons. And, actually, if it wasn't for him not wanting to sell the rights to Life in Hell, we wouldn't have The Simpsons.
That's just how the branches worked out, and how Tracy Ullman worked out, and how the first season worked out. Oh, what's that, Snarb? A funny story about Groening's success? Also, Logan saying it didn't get great around season 3. I do think season 2 has a lot of good cuts in it, but 3 was the big season that really got a lot of heads turning if they weren't on board. Oh hey, Sally Cruikshank. What was that called? The Quackadero? That's a great feature. Wow. So her star could have risen bigger in the... Oh, wow. Huh. Wow, I feel sorry for Sally. She's immensely talented, so...
To be honest, I've never heard of her.
I would be bitter about that, too, but, I guess that's just the way the cookie crumbled, as it were. Oh, hey! Jay's on!
Hey, Jay. Appreciate it.
Yeah, what up? Yes. Well, at any rate, yeah, the first season, it is a very rough cut, and also it's half as much the length of other seasons, but there is still quite a bit that I like in it. Out of these 13, what do I say is my favorite? Possibly Moaning Lisa, if you can believe it, just because I kind of like the lesson that it's okay to be sad. The Simpsons did have some legitimate life lessons that it could teach every now and again, even though, you wouldn't know that for the most part because it is focused on being comedic foremost. But, the first season, like I said, being less haha funny and more, oh, that's how it is kind of funny.
Yeah. And for the record, I did watch the entirety of Disenchantment. That was actually pretty good.
I liked what I saw of it, but I didn't get to the latter seasons. I gotta get back on that sometime. That's a good point.
Yeah,
also,
Krusty, a definitive ending.
It did? Oh, that's good. That's good to hear. Shit, that's fair motivation because I realize lately something I can't stand is unresolved cliffhangers, like that one strong bad email. So if a show gets its run, but it doesn't get to end the way it wants it to, my chances of viewing that show are greatly reduced, knowing that it kind of builds up towards nothing. And yes, Sharon, I have seen the Simpsons movie. I would definitely like to talk about that later down the podcast if we can get out of season 1 that I'm apparently forcing us to stay on. That's my bad.
Well, though, season 1, that was when... it hit like a rocket.
Yeah, it did hit the ground running pretty well enough, but it's we had no idea just how much bigger and better things would get from there. I would maybe say arguably the most pivotal episode of season 1 was Krusty Gets Busted, since Krusty the Clown is one of the show's major side characters and one of my personal favorites, as well as introducing one of the show's few persistent villains who's not Mr. Burns. Sideshow Bob!
Hey, in fact, he's right there between Skinner and Grandpa.
Yeah, pretty much. I can do a pretty good Krusty groan whenever my ear. Yes. But, so, season 1, things started out really good. Season 2, things got even better. I don't know, Rob, I don't want to steal the narrative from you. Where do you want to go from here?
Well, I'm going to extrapolate something that Snarb said.
Sure.
The Simpsons was that big. He said Bush Sr. even commented on that. not so much the super political angle here, but I remember so many critics and, even like game magazines were talking about how the Simpsons were basically going to be a flash in the pan. They weren't going to last. In fact, there were some game magazines that were even like, well, it's good they're jumping on the bandwagon with, making a Nintendo game about the Simpsons, which in that case was Bart versus the Space Mutants.
Oh dear.
And it's like, well, it appears that Acclaim's locked down the license for the Simpsons. We'll see if that pays off for them, because, this is probably going to be a flash in the pan.
Casey Kasem thought the same thing about U2 back in the early 80s.
Yeah.
I think he called them a bunch of wasted names that don't mean diddly shit or something like that.
Yep. Also, Logan.
No more. I don't really care, but Rob would probably say no more mentions of Bubsy.
Well, Bubsy.
I do have to agree, Logan. That is pretty hilarious. An avant-garde music group called Negative Land even made a project full of voice clips of a song out of Casey Kasem saying bad things about U2 on air.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, but I still remember, like, at one point, like, every kid in school was wearing a Bart Simpson t-shirt. That one, Treehouse of Horror, where with the monkey's paw, where, I wish the Simpsons were rich and famous.
That's what it unironically became.
Oh, that was a direct commentary on that whole phenomena.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was Treehouse of Horror 2 by Season 3. Yeah, it was really that freaking huge. So
There were the Simpsons t-shirts. Of course, they cut a record album. The Simpsons Sing the Blues. I still remember seeing that, Fox had to do this huge premiere for the Do the Bartman video.
Nice. And yes, Logan, the fucking death declaration that Kasem was talking about, that's pretty great. But how about the Simpsons sing Calypso?
Yeah. Man's smart.
Woman is smarter.
Man's smart. Man, this thing's getting out of hand. I remember also they did a music video for Deep Deep Trouble.
I vaguely remember that as well, yes.
You can actually find that on YouTube pretty easily.
Yeah. It's like, as the Simpsons sort of shotgun success just kind of exploded.
Yes, Brandon,
what's up?
How's it going?
Yep. We could mention Simpsons video games, even if I think most of them are not very good.
And we probably will.
We are primarily putting the focus on the actual show itself, for better or worse.
Yeah, we're changing things up a bit.
Better. Mm-hmm. But you were saying? Sorry.
What was I saying? Simpsons. Oh, yeah, well,
Deep Trouble, right.
Yeah, and of course, this is right around the time they had those Butterfinger ads.
Oh, yeah. I remember all that as well, despite being very little when the Simpsons star was taking off, but I just kind of grew up with it sort of integrated in my pop culture veins, despite how young I was. My parents were certainly okay with me seeing it, which, anything objectionable in its content just really, really seems like small potatoes with, how far standards for regulation have devolved in television nowadays.
But,
So,
going back to what Bush was saying about it, it's like he actually said at one point, we need more families like the Waltons and less like the Simpsons.
What a fucking corn-fed fucking... Who even fucking remembers the fucking Waltons nowadays? That's what I want to fucking know.
I do.
Oh.
My parents used to watch it all the time.
I see. Well, it was before my time, so I really couldn't say much about it, but it's just like... It's just kind of funny that's, like... just one of the very few tidbits of notable legacy I ascribe to Bush the Elder, something so, corny and old and Lieberman-like or whatever. Because
I remember the Simpsons comeback to that, too.
We did get two bad neighbors out of that, yes.
Yeah. But that wasn't the comeback, though. They actually addressed his statement. And he's like, we are like the Waldens. We're all praying for an end to the Depression, too.
I forget, when was that?
What? The Waldens or the Great Depression?
No. I mean, when was this comeback? Was that actually in one of the episodes? Or...
I want to say they did an animated bit about it, but it wasn't actually part of one of the episodes, I don't think.
Yeah. I may vaguely remember this as well, but I don't quite remember. But yes.
They also had Marge write a letter to Barbara Bush.
I do sort of remember that, yes.
And she responded.
Some specific bits are kind of floating around in my brain, but, I could give you the plurale, the major summation of any given episode, and probably a few really good bits from it. If you throw out an episode name, I can tell you what it's about and what I remember best from it.
Well, the one Logan just mentioned, that was Two Bad Neighbors.
Yeah, from season 7. That was actually an episode I was a little mixed on for a while, but it really kind of clicked with me like the last time I saw it. Just how unflinchingly brutal it was on clowning on a politician who, granted, he wasn't really all that relevant anymore, so any major impact it had was not like super resounding, but it was still pretty on point.
Well, Logan, I don't usually try to think of Ringo Starr, but...
Do you like football? Do you like nachos? Gerald
great.
Ford was great at the end of that, yes.
But,
also, Gorbachev saying, instead I find you grappling with local oaf.
But I do remember the episode that had, I believe it was Ringo in it. Wasn't that the one
Rush
where...
of Greatness, yes.
Yeah. Forgive the lateness of my reply.
I remember when Marge shows the nude Burns at the end, we get a great quote from Miss Hoover, actually, saying, well, he's bad, but he'll die, so I like it.
Oh, and incidentally, thank you for not making fun of my genitalia. Huh?
I thought I did. Yeah, the second season, it was definitely... Like, it was still, like, a little bit dry and low-key, but the second season, I think the flavor was really starting to flow in, and as I said, like, they love Mr. Burns so much early in the series. Like, he gets several great moments here, like the aforementioned Brush with Greatness, the episode where Burns cites Run with Governor, which is a long title, 2 cars in every garage and 3 eyes in every fish. Blinky the fish was something of an icon for the show for a while.
Also, Logan, I have no comment on the matter.
I will attempt to give a comment myself, if I may.
That's a good comment.
It is, isn't it? And then also Bart gets hit by a car. Not only a good episode for Burns, but I believe that was the debut episode of Lionel Hutz, if I'm not mistaken.
You might be right about that.
Well, it was definitely a very notable early one with everyone's favorite weasel lawyer, as it were.
The Simpsons really lost something when Phil Hartman was killed.
Yeah. Fuck
that
his
was
stupid wife and fuck Andy Dick. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yes, because Andy Dick had everything to do with that.
Well, he had something to do with it.
I don't recall what for the life of me, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, I want to focus on the downsides of that. No, money down. Oh wait, I should probably remove this bar association logo.
But yeah, we lost both Troy McClure and Lionel Hutz that day.
And I did feel around the time that The Simpsons overall sort of quality was starting to tip downward as well. I mean, Hartman probably wouldn't have, like, saved the show from its eventual decline, but it did nonetheless kind of seem in like oddly, almost scarily synonymous with the quality's eventual tipping.
Thank you, Logan, for the context there.
Yeah, so I don't care if he was good in that one episode of Voyager. Fuck Andy Dick.
But there's the truth. And the truth.
There's truth. Yep.
But yeah, Troy McClure. You may remember him from such films as Lead Paste, Delicious but Deadly, The Boatjacking of Super Ship 79. They came to burgle Carnegie Hall.
What is the one with Get Confidence, stupid?
Oh, isn't it? That's the self-help one.
Yeah, definitely.
Mothballing your battleship and dig your own grave and save.
They had a lot of fun creating fake movie titles for Troy McClure. I don't know why that was just so funny. Maybe Hartman was just natural at delivering a crazy association of words, but it also does just kind of feel like a very specific sort of parody of a sort of pop culture of a movie star whose like overall status is somewhat past its heyday.
Somewhat.
Well, I mean, he did pursue his passion project of the cantankerous contraptions of Horatio Huffnagel or whatever it was called.
That's true. And remember, like he said to Dolores Montenegro in Calling All Quakers, have it your way, baby.
So, yeah, I mean, we could certainly, like, I almost want to jump into the tangent of what are some of our other favorite side characters, but I guess we haven't talked enough about the family itself first, so...
Well, let's see. Well, first you have Homer. And we all know what Homer's about.
Why, you little... Sorry.
That horrific act of child abuse became one of our most beloved running gags.
That is what they said on Behind the Laughter. I wanted to mention that because I know that's like Snarb's least favorite part of Homer's composition, but they knew when to do it back in the golden era so that it didn't seem too horribly gratuitous. It kind of got out of hand as the show went on and the quote-unquote jerk-ass Homer doctrine took over. But, yeah, Homer is interesting in that, he is more or less the main character, even though it kind of felt like they were kind of pushing Bart as the central character.
Oh, originally
at first.
they were. Yeah.
Yeah, Bart was on most of the merchandise to start, and it is kind of funny how for a more, a show with more adult sensibilities that, they were attempting to appeal to the sort of bad, rad attitude kid demographic that Bart arguably embodied, but no, just Homer somehow became more popular. I don't know if that's just because Dan Castellaneta is a great voice actor, or if they just found they could write more fun situations for Homer being as much of a loudmouth lout as he was, but
now, let's not sell Bart too short. Remember, he did own a factory at one point.
That is true, yes. But Bart, I think, I appreciate that they sort of made him less of, like, just a straight copy of Dennis the Menace, and a more, I feel, nuanced character as the show hit its stride. Less, of the little Hellraiser, quote-unquote, that they were trying to sell him as at first, and just more of a surprisingly intelligent young man who's just really bored about everything in suburbia, which I could relate to.
And Brandon, Professor Frink is the secret main character of the show.
He was, really? Professor Frank, he'll make you laugh, he'll make you think.
But yeah, Homer's Homer.
Yeah, no, Homer is indeed Homer. Sarb, if you're there, could you affirm that you're kind of mixed on Homer sort of becoming the de facto main character and getting much of the episode focus? Because I think he had some words to say about that at some point, and those are words that I would like to hear.
I remember even seeing on the cover of TV Guide at one point, The Simpsons, Bart's out and Homer's in.
Oh, really? They actually said that at some point. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Well, shit. Also, Jay, I think / Hope we're doing pretty well at the moment.
Yeah, we're still waiting on Fatal to come back, but he'll get here when he gets here.
Yep. But yes. Oh, okay. Well, you know what? That's fair. It's felt like a long week. I'll give you that. But yeah. So even if Homer did arguably take Bart's star, that was the name of an episode, Bart's star. Yeah. It almost felt like, you know, the main focus kind of ping pong back and forth between Homer and Bart, but Marge and Lisa should not be sold short either.
Even at least it did get a little preachy after a while.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. When it comes to characters who have kind of been like worn down from their original intent and they focus more on one aspect of them. Like, I'm not sure if it's editorializing to say Lisa is probably the least popular of the Simpsons, which I think is kind of an unfair assessment, since I think she really did have her place as more of a sort of straight foil to the rest of her family being as wacky as they were, and it felt like they knew well what they were doing with her, being the sort of smart kid who kind of has struggles with having the quote-unquote gifted talents that she has. But something I noticed in earlier episodes is that they never forget to let Lisa still be a kid. Like, really wanting a pony a lot and, you know, still loving Itchy and Scratchy despite being more enlightened than other second graders at her time. That was something that really fell away when the show fell off the horse and she became, like, you know, a really like a proto Greta Thunberg type who's just, you know, preaching about saving the whales or voting for whales or whatever. Something to do with the whales in the rainforest, and that sort of almost like, it's like that sort of, I get it, this is important, but like, why is this comedy show getting preachy like this? And Lisa kind of became the unfortunate avatar of that. Probably the character who suffered the most from quote-unquote Flanderization besides Flanders himself.
If anyone needs me, I'll be in my room.
What sort of catchphrase was that? And yeah, the vegetarian I like that one a lot, but it was kind of the beginning of the end for Lisa as a more nuanced and diverse character, for better or worse.
Well, that's why I chose to represent her in the stream, as making a face there.
Yeah, like I said, she could be goofy when she wanted to, and that was something that fell away as the show kind of just fell off, as Coach Z would say. And yeah, Marge, I would say, is probably the most underrated Simpson. It felt like they didn't really know what to do with her at first, but I really like how they developed on the stance of her being a potentially very talented woman who maybe didn't make the best choice in her life marrying Homer, but she still makes the most out of it where she can. Like, I think the Springfield connection was a really a great episode showcasing Marge's potential for being something more than the typical American housewife who just gets all her tasks done and drinks a glass of wine a day. I know experts say you should drink a glass and a half, but I just can't drink that much.
We're going to have to talk about Hank Scorpio at some point.
I mean, yeah, of course. Fuck, we can talk about all of Albert Brooks' characters. Yes, Barney Gumble. I cannot do that belching noise. I don't even know how they did that belching noise in the first place.
Well, let's not ignore the fifth member of the immediate Simpsons household.
I'm not sure exactly what to say about Maggie. They did have her do more interesting things than you'd expect, especially at the end of the beginning of season 7 to be technical. But, I'm genuinely not sure what to say about Maggie.
Well, let's see. There was one thing I had in mind. They paid Elizabeth Taylor an obscene amount of money just to come on and say daddy.
Yeah, the 4th season. That was a sweet moment, but all the same, that was a very interesting use of a guest.
Uh-huh.
And then I like when they actually did have her appear as herself later, and she refused, and her butler or whatever, or her agent or whatever, declined appearing on the Krusty show, and then she just says, "I gotta fire that agent later."
Yeah. But Maggie, she's just, there aren't going to be any other babies. Maggie doesn't get along with the other babies. Especially Gerald.
Yeah. Oh yeah, baby Gerald, the unibrow baby.
And half of the shorts they've done on Disney Plus that are about Maggie usually involve him and her facing off in some way or shape or form.
It was kind of interesting how they pursued that further, but I haven't seen most of those shorts. Maybe I should get around to that sometime. I don't know.
Oh, they're short, so it won't take you long to go through them.
That is fair, yes. Anyway, also there's Santos L. Halper in Snowball 2.
Let's not forget Santos.
Yep. I know that's like no one's favorite episode, but there's some bits from that one I like quite a bit, like the pachinko machine.
Yeah. You a winner. You a winner.
Yep. And yes, the critic didn't give Jay Sherman a horrendous burp that was used on the somewhat infamous episode "A Star Is Burns."
And yet they gave Eudora Welty an even worse one. I'm a Eudora.
Exactly. But yeah, third season, like I said, it's like that's where the show like really sort of pushed forward into where it would eventually lead to, and I think Snarb thinks that the third season is arguably the best because it was definitely funny, but the show still had a aware sense of where it was without devolving into more Looney Tunes-esque territory. Although, I do say that, yet there was, of course, the bit where the baseball player Ozzie Smith falls into the mystery spot and never returns.
That was hilarious.
Yep, the fucking Homer at the bat is... I know it's almost too obligatory to get to it, but that episode was just a huge impact on television history that many people are still talking about nowadays. It's just...
They're talking softball.
They were, yes. Steve Saxon is running with the law. Ken Griffey Jr.'s horribly swollen jaw and all that.
Yeah. We're talking Homer, Ozzie, and the Straw.
Are you better than me? Well, I've never met you before, but yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Daryl. Kids, that's not nice. Oh, come on. Let's just roll out their backs.
the single tear.
Now, of course, if you're going to mention the Simpson family itself, there's also someone else very much worth mentioning. Because once he tied an onion to his belt, which was a style at the
Just a
time.
style at the time. I know that Abe Simpson is one of your favorite characters, if not possibly your favorite.
Oh, he's up there, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So I got.
Oh, go ahead.
So I got the ferry to Morganville, which what they called Shelbyville at the time. And I take the ferry, cost a quarter. Or was it a nickel? Yeah. See, I'm getting so old and forgetful now that I'm starting to add to the story that never ends.
What I love about that bit is how just Burns and Smithers keep looking at each other incredibly annoyed.
Yeah.
How it just keeps on. Yeah, so I like how they could cut a good balance with Abe being rambling, almost stereotypical old person and be very funny, as well as knowing when to depict him as an asshole and a bad father.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was very believable that they could have this sort of dichotomy within one character and not have it come off as hokey or out of place, which, like, again, I might be jumping too soon to this, but I feel that something that fans don't give the golden era, quote unquote, of the series enough credit for is that they were allowed to have dramatic moments in the show. They knew when to how to regulate the humor without it just kind of falling off the rails. They knew when to give it pathos and make the characters actual characters and not just caricatures of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how exactly that fell off the rails later, aside from the obvious answer of the good writers left, so to speak. But
well,
yeah, I don't
that's
know.
a pretty big reason, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
I gave him a plate of corn muffins in 1947 to paint my chicken coop, and he never did it.
Those muffins were lousy.
Paint my chicken coop.
Never.
Make me.
Oh, make me. That was it.
Yeah.
Gotcha. There
is oh God, there's so many characters to talk about, though. It's really gotten that big. So
yeah, I mean, even sticking to the recognizable side characters, there is still a lot to in the scope of things to cover. I mean, down there alone, besides the Simpsons itself, and of course Mr. Burns up there, there's Smithers, Abe, as mentioned, Sideshow Bob, Principal Skinner, Milhouse, Martin, Nelson, and very blonde-looking Barney, which I think was like his season 1 design.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. But yeah, who else do we even focus on? Or should we even focus on a character or focus more on the through line of the seasons themselves? Like, I think I'm kind of trying to force a direction here, but this is ultimately your stream, so what do you want to talk about?
I don't know. It seems like every season of The Simpsons takes place in a different universe.
That's not a bad way of putting it. Season 4 has a very distinctively different tone from Season 3, and Season 5 even such the case different from 4. Like, Seasons 5 and 6 probably those probably feel the closest to each other 2 years where David Merkin was the showrunner. Even so, 6 is probably I would arguably say the batshit looniest season, or was 5 even loonier? I don't know. But yeah, no, I do get what you mean, especially among the earlier ones where they were more distinct. Of course, seasons 5 and 6 were a lot more comedy forward, which most people approved of. I know a few who don't in so much, but they could still appreciate a lot.
Well, think of this too. You have these characters who are basically on a sliding timeline.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like it's commonly accepted that Homer and Marge met in the early 70s.
Well,
And
it used to be.
right, but then there's later seasons they moved it up to the 90s, and so yeah, just when Bart saying he doesn't remember 1990 when he was 10.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So it's
Yeah.
like there you go. It's like this must be a different universe. One that's similar but not like our own.
Maybe there's some sort of like, comic book like, Earth 3 bullshit or whatever the fuck going on with that for all we know. Maybe that's what the series finale will be about. I don't know. But
yeah, it'll be a Crisis on Infinite Springfields or something.
exactly. Sam would probably throw a brick at us if he was in this stream.
Yes, he probably would.
Anyway, but yeah, Season 4 was a lot more distinctively wacky than Season 3, although there are just a goldmine of classics in here, like Mr. Plow, Homer's Triple Bypass, Duffless was a good one, Last Exit to Springfield's a great one, I really like The Front a lot with this show ain't no good. But of course, I want to focus on what, if not Last Exit to Springfield, which I think you can make a good case is, I do want to sort of shine a little bit of spotlight on what could arguably be called the crown jewel of Season 4, and for better or worse, a very pivotal Simpsons episode. You know the one.
So it's come to this, a Simpsons clip show?
Fuck you. No, it's mono means one and rail means rail. The fucking Marge versus the monorail episode.
Brought a scientist to help. Is it Batman?
Is it Batman? Batman's a scientist.
It's not Batman. Yeah. Lyle Langley.
Yep, another fantastic Phil Hartman role. I know Snarf has a few things to say about the monorail episode that might be hot takes, but in some ways he's not wrong. This is kind of where the show went full-blown Looney Tunes, especially with Leonard Nimoy teleporting away at the end. Even though I fucking love that bit, don't get me wrong.
What do you mean your work is done? You didn't do anything. Didn't I?
No.
And let's not forget the time they crossed that over with Thomas the Tank Engine.
Really?
Well, not officially.
I don't remember what you're talking about, unfortunately.
Someone made a video where they actually set the monorail song and a lot of different quotes from the show to the Thomas the Tank Engine theme.
Oh, wow.
You've heard it. I sent it to you once or twice.
Oh, you probably did, but my memory fucking sucks. Oh well, I'll have to look that up again later. But
The kids can call you Hoju.
I'll get back to you on that.
The original Zombie Simpsons episode, huh?
Yeah, if you want to elaborate on that, I'd definitely like to hear it. I remember you had some words to say about it. I mean, it probably doesn't help that the season finale, Krusty Gets Canceled, had a huge amount of guest stars to it, and there's a lot to say about celebrity appearances on The Simpsons, which have been numerous and wide and far spread, almost to the point of, if you're someone of any sort of repute, you probably have been, or at least will be on The Simpsons at some point. It's almost like a rite of passage, practically.
I mean, they even got Weird Al finally.
Exactly. Weird Al himself sort of having a similar effect to musicians, where you're definitely someone of note if Weird Al parodied you somehow. Mm-hmm. I mean, shit, Kurt Cobain considered that more important than being on Saturday Night Live, or so I've heard. It might be apocryphal, but that's pretty funny to think about.
Yeah, that's true. Let me see here.
But yeah, season 4 was also the one with the clip show, and although, there haven't been super many clip shows on the throughout the series run so far, but I do know that, except for the 138th Special Spectacular, which if you could even call that a clip show, I don't know, they're usually derided as being among very naff episodes, which clip shows usually are, like fucking, Shades of Grey from The Next Generation. That's nobody's favorite.
I will give it to you in 4 words. All singing,
All singing,
dancing.
all dancing. Yeah. That's not until season 9, but that sure was a thing, and it really does blow, to quote the goddamn episode itself. Use its own ammo against it, but...
Yeah. Ugh. That was the first time I ever remember watching The Simpsons going, what the hell did they just do? That was terrible.
There's definitely some point watching the show later on where we realized that it was devolving into something different, and it just felt wrong somehow. Like there was some sort of deep primordial feeling that touched upon us that said that this was bad. Like, we should prepare for the storm ahead or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what that would have been for me. What my dumb, my dumb child mind at the time would have said when the show entered the years where Matt's, who was it? I'm trying to think. Who was the showrunner from seasons 9 to 12? The Mike Scully years. Yes, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was anywhere in season 9. Season 9 did actually have some good episodes. I'm actually quite a big fan of Simpson Tide myself.
Sparkle.
Bart! Pinhole leak. Dad, the earring could plug the hole. I'll plug your hole!
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Okay, I think the episode where I realized that things were stupid was the one with Alec Baldwin and Kim Basinger and Ron Howard. Not a fan of that.
Yeah, that one was pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, talking about blatant celebrity appearances and whatnot. That's hey, that. Oh, wait, and then after that one, not too long after that one, was the one where they revealed that Flanders was fucking 60 years old, which I still think is bullshit, and they went to Vegas. Season 10 was definitely where I could hear the bricks falling down and crumbling, yeah. So, I mean, I did like the Tokyo episode that season ended on, but it was definitely kind of a regression of what I knew then. Overall.
We were starting to get into the whole, well, we're going to get an occasional good joke now.
You think that for then, brother? I have just finished season 32 of the show.
Yeah, it was sliding, just kept on going.
I think I might have suffered permanent. I have suffered legitimate psychic damage from some of the late series episodes. My aforementioned friend Andrew that I brought up, he just decided, fuck, I'm going to watch every Simpson episode, and you can do along with me if you want to. And I didn't for the first 20 seasons because I had seen that. Yes, I hung on to about season 20. There may have been a few in like seasons 18 and 19 that I missed, but like, I don't know, I was still watching it with some regularity long past when it fell off, and I stopped viewing The Simpsons. I don't know if he somewhat cajoled me or if I figured, you know what, sure, I'll do it too. And then we've been viewing every Simpsons episode parallel alongside each other ever since, and I don't think it's been worth it so far. I mean, I know that the sort of subject of quote-unquote of quote-unquote zombie Simpsons has come up, or the Dead Homer Society, or whatever. While I think some of those criticisms are overblown, there is a lot more validity to them than I would like them there to be. Like, oh man, what do I even say? I can't even remember. It's like mostly just a bunch of sludge that went in one ear and out the other. I don't even remember most of what I've seen at this point. So,
You may
I mean,
both.
if you have any questions about latter era Simpsons, I'll try and answer it, but I don't think I can give you many adequate answers. So,
Yeah.
God.
And it's like, I've let my Simpsons viewing lapse quite a bit in recent years. Aside from the fact there's been way too much else to watch, I found myself hooked on other series like Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, you've really been on that one lately, and I think Bob's Burgers is like up around season 15 now. Is it
Something like that.
around there?
I'm in season 13 right now.
Its quality has still been very surprisingly high. Like, I've noticed most shows kind of tend to fall off around the 6 to 8 mark that have went on that long. Mm-hmm. But no, Bob's Burgers for the most part is still really good. I mean, I just started season 11, and like there've only been like 3 episodes or whatever that I really wasn't crazy about. Otherwise, BB's been just hit after hit for the most part.
It helps they're keeping more grounded than wacky.
Oh, hey, I just heard a beep.
I have reason to believe that I just drank poison.
All right, Fatal's with us.
Sorry it took so long. I'm sitting at the restaurant like Abraham Simpson. But, oh, what a wing ding. This is much more fun than the lions are staring at him.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh, boy.
Probably
so
episodes they ever did.
Well, we've certainly talked a lot about the show for the past hour.
Good. That's the whole point.
Yep. So,
Cool.
Be nice to get
unfortunately, we didn't have as much focus as I probably should have fostered. Like, I was just talking about the earlier seasons and how pivotal the baseball and the monorail episodes were, and I was just talking recently about the fact that I just finished viewing season 32 of the show, and oh my, it's really fallen from its pedestal extremely far by now. But
oh God, beyond. I think the major problem with this, with like for me, when I noticed that the show was kind of going downhill, was about the time that they changed Homer from being a bit of an angry dad to an idiot.
Yeah, an idiot and jerk ass, as I realize a lot of people would probably say as such.
Yeah, but that's what he says. Out of my way, jerk ass. But it was just when you look back at Homer, the way he used to be is he would generally try to do the right thing, but he was just your typical average American dad.
Yeah.
The son's a pain in the ass. The daughter's clinically depressed and always looking for validation, even though she's a straight A student. New baby on the loose. Wife with this obviously bizarre hairstyle, worn only for shock value. But then we go on to, like Homer trying to get to the Truckosaurus thing while dealing with Lisa, doing her first solo. And now Homer's on top of the roof smoking a turkey. For what reason?
Oh, yeah. I remember that from the 138 Spectacular. I think Homer gets stupider every season.
Every year.
That's not a question, Professor.
But we'll let the viewers decide.
What's the deal with Mr. Burns' assistant Smithers? You know what I mean. Was that the Honorable Ambassador Henry Mwapwe Tumba from the Ivory Coast?
I think so.
Oh, probably. I mean, I also touched upon how generally reviled the clip shows were, except for that one, and even then just barely qualifies as a clip show in my opinion, so...
Well, would you count the hospital episode as a clip episode?
You mean the first one? Where,
yeah, when April Fool's, when he got blown up with the can.
Well, the funny thing about that is, it even says, so it's come to this, the Simpsons clip shows the episode title, but they actually managed to completely avoid it being a clip show for the first act. They don't start until after the first commercials.
It was pretty self-aware, especially the
Yeah.
part when, like Grandpa Simpson is like, "Oh, I go in out of comas, all the." And they're like, "Is a coma painful?" Oh, heck no! You get to relive long-lost summers, kiss girls from high school. It's like one of those TV shows where they show a bunch of clips from old episodes. And I'm just like,
Yeah. I feel like, the writers were doing their best to rebel against the studio mandate, and that's why the first act pointedly had no clips whatsoever. And then when they had to do what they had to do, they were just constantly mocking it all throughout, which I do appreciate that they did that.
Absolutely.
I don't know if they would really give two shits about if the studio said something, though, because let's be real here. How often did they make fun of Fox?
A
All
lot.
the time. That is true, yes.
Like, if we were going to do we could do a top 10 list of like the all-time biggest disses that the Simpsons did on Fox.
That's actually a good idea.
And we can't watch Fox because they own all those chemical weapon plants in Syria.
I invested in something called News Corp. Dad, that's Fox. Undo! Do we have any money left?
That was a Japan episode.
That was, yes.
That
One of my personal favorites, and this is a really, really subtle one. Do you remember the episode when Laura was going to be the babysitter?
Yep.
Yeah, Laura Powers, that was Sarah Gilbert from Roseanne, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but what was that show? I think it was Northern Exposure. Do you remember when they made fun of that? And please take away your garbage. It's attracting wildlife. And you had the moose.
Mm-hmm. I remember
That's them making fun of Northern Exposure, which is a show that I believe Fox was trying to push.
Oh.
But if you really think about it subtly, you've got the music playing, you have a moose eating the Simpsons garbage, and Homer's like, "Hey, get off my lawn."
Holy shit. I actually don't remember that bit, but
that's one of my all-time favorite ones. That's when Mrs. Winthrop knocked on the door and she's like, there's a couple things that you can do to help us sell our home. Whenever you walk in front of the window, could you please wear pants? No.
Oh, wow. It even says that this is the actual Northern Exposure theme that plays when the moose is found.
And
wow.
I always felt that was a really subtle dig at Fox.
May very well
I think
have been.
you might be right, yeah. It does seem like it.
Like, literally, they're eating our garbage, and he's like, "Get off my lawn. I'm talking to you, moose."
That was a good bit. Even if it hadn't been.
Have we touched upon the Halloween spectaculars?
We have been saving those to speak of.
Yeah, we didn't get too much into those, except I mentioned that's where all of our images are from. But yes.
In all honesty, I didn't even realize that to begin with. But they're all here.
That was sort of my idea, just sort of molded into while thinking about what we were going to do for our avatars here. And I'm glad we fell into it because... oh man, lots of classic bits from the tree houses, which have also gotten worse as the series went on, but that's neither
Of course
here
they
nor
have.
I had to have a
Go
bit
ahead.
that represented my favorite Treehouse episode of all time.
Just don't look. Just don't look.
Exactly.
I'm the first non-Brazilian person to travel backwards through time. Correction, Homer. You're the second.
That's right, Mr. Peabody.
Quiet, you.
Quiet, you. Yeah, I had to do the haunted house from the very first one because Amityville Horror has always been a big thing to me, and I love that house's personality.
The Bad Dream House.
Yeah, Bad Dream House. But I mean, like that house, you kind of felt bad for him, and it was a surly son of a bitch too. I mean, it's just launching books at people. It's like, get out, And then it's like Bart's trying to bully it. Do it again. What? Make the walls bleed. No. Hey, man, we own you. Let's see some blood. I don't have to entertain you.
Lisa, the butcher knife, Lisa.
Yep.
It's like I was saying how the first episode it actually was legitimately creepy at times, even if it was still pretty comedic. But as the show found, I think I was just rooted in season 2, like sort of being drier and more low key than where this show would go later. But it was a very unique feeling, to say the least.
Season 2 of the Treehouse of Horrors had a lot going for it. Like, it's really memorable to me.
It's an electronic version of what you call table tennis.
Yeah, that's just Pong. Get with the times, man.
Marge and I used to play that old game when we were dating.
Well, we didn't build a spaceship, That was such a good closing line then. Well then, if you wanted to make Sarah to prepare a cry, mission accomplished. You aren't the only beings who have emotions,
How to cook for 40 humans.
Yep.
There's still more space. Yeah, you know what? That's a good way. You ever fuck up and the wife catches you at something? Wait a minute, there's still more space dust on here.
Oh, but yeah, that was for Kang and Kodos' first appearance. That was a good one.
I know, but the second one was always a classic too. Oh, he's got a board with a nail in it.
Oh, yes, that's great.
Yeah, I do really love the monkey's paw bit. For some reason, I like the bit near the beginning where it's parodying Midnight Express, and then the guy just says, "You will pay a fine of $2 American." Okay.
Yeah, and that was great. Listen, but you know what? I love that music that they play. That doon 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 doon. They played the same music when Marge thought about Homer becoming a hostage negotiator.
Oh,
listen, Wooly, we were not giving in to your demands. What do you say to that?
Better give me the weight loss tape.
But second Halloween, well, I mean, just to tie a bow on the first one I think was definitely one of the best that they did. Because, I mean, Bad Dream House was great. A lot of good callbacks. There were some genuinely kind of creepy moments, like when he looked into the basement and you see like that hole in the wall. I remember as a kid that was very unsettling for me.
Oh,
Ancient Indian, what?
You never told me this house was built on an ancient Indian burial ground. No, you didn't.
That's not my recollection.
All right, fine, goodbye.
5 or 6 times.
Yeah. Life with the Simpsons.
The
What
Raven.
choice do I have? That is only the best version of the Raven ever.
I'll say it again. Look the Raven, eat my shorts.
Darkness there and nothing more.
You know, it'd be scarier than nothing.
Anything. So, I mean, just all around excellent one. The second one, though, was really good, too, just because of Mr. Burns and Smithers trying to steal Homer's brain and putting him into a robot. First thing the goddamn thing does, he sits up and scans for donuts and eats it.
It wasn't supposed to be like this, Smithers.
Take out that brain and flush it down the toilet.
Yeah. It's not rocket science. It's brain surgery.
Ice cream scoop.
Oh, that.
I was just watching the other day the episode when Bart got hit by a car, and Mr. Burns, fucking line of the episode, "They hate me." Well, what trial were you watching? Well, maybe a settlement. Oh, yes, settlement. Fine. Hang your heads in shame. You overpriced, underbrain Noto Republic. Get that big ape to my house tonight. We'll buy him off with a banana or two.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
That was definitely one of the better episodes. Shit, I mean, season 2. Can you list a bad? You know what? That's an even better question. What was the first bad Simpsons episode that you actually remember being like, this is pretty terrible?
Well, I did mention that when the show went to the Mike Scully years, like I didn't think much bad of season 9 back then, even though I could find a lot more back. But like I was younger and I didn't have much of a sense of actual taste. But when we got to season 10, I realized the episode with Alec Baldwin and King Basinger was actually legitimately bad,
Yeah, that
even
was
as
terrible.
a kid. So, yeah. But if you're talking, if you wanted to ask what's a bad episode during the golden era, during the first 8 seasons, that would be an interesting question that I'd have to legitimately think about.
I pretty
It's
much
really hard to find one.
Yeah, I legitimately enjoyed pretty much everything, even what Snark referred to as the beginning of Zombie Simpsons.
Yeah, our friend Snarb's not as big on the monorail episode, although his points are fairly valid, but that was more of a sort of template for where the series would go than Peril itself, just like how it wasn't necessarily, Gears of War's fault that a lot of the 7th gen would be full of bland-ass cover shooters and, gung-ho military-ass games. Wow, why did I bust on the 7th gen during our Simpsons stream?
You're still...
Yeah, but you know what? That also is a product of its time, because I mean, like,
Yeah.
this is like little post 9/11, so every movie that's going to come out is all about Jarhead, Hurt Locker,
Yeah,
you know,
Dark 30 and so forth, yeah.
Black Hawk Down.
The 2000s were a fucking culture vacuum, man. But again, that's video games, not necessarily The Simpsons, so my bad.
But,
Well, the Simpsons were usually the ones that were on top of the culture.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Although, to answer your question, I think I know the first time I saw an episode where I was legitimately just like, that was terrible.
What's that?
Of course, it was a clip show.
Another Simpsons clip show, season 6. That is probably the worst one of those. Although I'm almost tempted to disqualify it because, yeah, it's a clip show. Like, what do we do?
Yeah.
Except that, as we mentioned, the first clip show they tried to subvert wherever they can. With this one, they just, I guess, kind of shrugged and wanted to fucking get it over with. That was kind of the feeling
I just kind of overlooked the clip shows up till the point of season 9, and then
you couldn't escape it.
all singing, all dancing. I was just sitting there afterwards going, what?
Paint that wagon shit. Oh, I hated that.
And then they followed it up with a non-clip show episode, which I really didn't like.
Shit, which one was that?
Bart Carney.
I'm not super fond of that one. It is kind of a bummer and kind of a waste of Jim Varney. Who,
Yeah. Big
I'll
waste
never
of Jim
say no
Varney.
to him in anything, R.I.P., but like, no, that one was kind of I don't know, it just felt like a bit of a bitter episode.
Is that the one when they lost the house to the Carnies?
Yeah.
That's the one, yes.
It's
It's not great, no.
And then it started to really get shaky after that point.
Yeah, no kidding.
My personal thing where I'm like, would have to have been the Vegas one.
I mentioned
Wives.
that one too. Yes, I said that. That was yes, no, exact. Yeah, no. I still kind of fucking hate that. Apparently, Flanders is 60 years old. That never sat right with me, and it just got really stupid. And I fucking hate the Vegas wives, and that became a fucking subplot later. Oh God.
But you see, but that's also the episode when I'm talking about when Homer became a fucking idiot.
You're
That's
right.
the episode when he's on top of the roof and he's slow roasting a chicken for what reason?
See, we'd reached the point in the
I've
series
had
now.
fucking lunatics come up to me and be like, "Well, Homer's only that stupid because he lost 5% of his brain in the coma," and I'm like, "You would have seen that a lot sooner than the first 4 seasons."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'd reached this point in the series where it just seems like, okay, we're going to get maybe a couple of decent jokes out of this episode, and if we're lucky.
I mean, granted, even after it started getting kind of blah, there are still memorable moments, and I'd say one of my personal favorites was Checkmate, Mr. Trampoline. We got the power saw wrapped around the trampoline, and it yanked the wall socket out.
Yeah.
Scared the shit out of Maggie and Marge, and then there was what do you call it? There was there was when he couldn't build the grill. What the hell is that?
Oh yeah, Mom and Pop Art. Yeah, no, I like that episode from the later seasons. That was a good one.
Well,
That's like the bit where like the giant pencil sculpture starts to erase him.
to go back to the Vegas Wives for a second, I'll never get tired of Chop Chop Dig Dig.
Okay, that's a pretty great bit. I'll give you that, if nothing else. As I feel said, yeah, the show is not incapable of good jokes even up to now. It's just they're much more few and far between.
I hear digging, but I don't hear any chopping.
I just think it's because it did become a lot less grounded in reality. I mean, the more nonsensical that it got. I mean, okay, fine. Yeah, it's a cartoon, and yeah, there's like space mutants who come in occasionally. But for the most part, a lot of the people that you saw throughout the early seasons were people that we grew up seeing assholes like this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and there has been situations like this. I mean, come on. Has anybody ever gone to a movie theater and you tried to get the ice out and it came out in one ginormous fucking block?
Yep, occasionally.
Yeah.
So it's just like, wait a minute, I heard how this ends. It turns out that the nursery rhyme is just the secret code is a nursery rhyme he told his daughter. But it's so and that's the thing. It's all about the relatability.
Oh, here's one of my favorite bits on that subject. Wow, what an ending. Who would have known that Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's father?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Blow the picture for me.
You know, I actually did that once at the theater. I think we were coming to episode 2, and I said that, and there were a couple people standing there, and a couple of them laughed because they got it.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Oh, God. There's a story. My mom used to share this with me because she went to the movie theater to go see Diner when it came out, with Kevin Bacon and Steve Guttenberg, Paul Reiser.
Cool.
Some guy in the crowd must have been high as a kite because he just yelled out, "Dinner! Oh, shit, we're at the wrong movie."
Okay, that's pretty great.
Yeah. Here's another movie-related episode that was pretty blah, except for one part I absolutely cannot get enough of. Beyond Blunderdome.
Ooh, the Mel Gibson one. That is a bad episode, yes.
The part that I absolutely cannot get enough of, though, is when they're showing the change ending to the studio execs, and they're just completely dumbfounded at the end.
That is the best part for what it's worth. And why did Mr. Smith kill everybody? Or whatever.
Why did Mr. Smith kill everybody? Yeah, that guy, he looks and sounds so totally clueless at that point. It makes me laugh every time I see it.
Yeah.
Cut off the president's head.
No, that was pretty... That was a bright spot in a very, very dark episode. Although I do like the bit at the very end where Homer says,
"What about Indiana Jones? Does anyone own the rights to that?"
So it's like even the bad episodes have a couple of bits I wouldn't kick out of bed, but like it's I don't know. It's just like it's just kind of a kick in the patoot to have to settle for hamburger here when we had so much steak in the first 8 seasons.
Praise land.
That's what happens when you don't hail to the chimp.
Exactly.
Praise land. It's more like craze land.
No, it's a bee amusement park.
That reminds me of the episode when Lisa becomes a vegetarian. Aww. Out of the way, you.
Yep.
That was definitely that was an okay one, but I think that's probably one of the first episodes when I truly started to hate Lisa.
You know what? Our friend Snarb actually did say that. He said that one kind of ruined Lisa's character, sort of the beginning of the end for her, which
she became such an insufferable asshole.
Yeah, I mean, the problem, what they forgot later is that Lisa's a kid, and they actually allowed her to be a kid at times, and that's what made her more endearing. But when she just became this political, fucking Brian from Family Guy ass mouthpiece, then that was bad.
Yeah,
that was just like a term I've heard is Flanderization, of course, for primarily applying to, of course, Flanders, who started out as just a decent overall mensch of a person who, Christianity is a big part of his personality, but it wasn't like the only part of it. And then later on, he becomes like a fucking, fundamentalist parody and a lot less sympathetic as a result. And like,
absolutely terrible.
I couldn't tell you if Flanders was the worst person to suffer from the trope that he's named after, because I think Lisa in some ways might have fallen off the wagon even worse, but yeah, that was definitely a problem that infected many characters in the show that just became dumber and or angrier as things devolved.
Pretty much. And you know what? A lot of it's just like there was such a good charm to it. Like, thinking of like Flanders' character, we welcome you to the neighborhood. Sing fa la 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 la. And that was when they first met Flanders, and then he was like, "Hey, if you need anything, let me know. I could use a TV tray." But you know what? There was also a little bit of continuity there. Come to think of it, too, because do you remember the episode when Homer thought he ate fugu, and he borrowed the camcorder to record the message for Maggie? And Jesus Christ, you could definitely relate to this one, too.
Yeah.
He was a kind man. He was a simple man who loved his children. And, oh, hello. Bart's friend Millhouse. Bart, get your ass down here. But,
welcome in, Skeletal Raven.
Hey, what's up? Yeah,
a couple episodes into it, though, later on, when Homer had to watch his mouth and he got the swear jar. Hey, Homer, I need to talk with you. Hey, look, if it's about your camcorder, I lost it, okay? And I'm like, hey, continuity.
True.
Yeah, no, they gave a damn. They put actual effort into just realizing the world of Springfield and making many of its characters besides the Simpsons just sort of count. Like, we didn't even get into like mentioning all of our favorite side characters, but Rob said he really likes Abe Simpson a lot. I really like Krusty a lot. I don't think we mentioned Skinner too much, but his overall dullness is hilarious. Bold, Whisk, and all that. And Mo also, who
Mo Sislak.
Yes. They used to call me Kid Handsome, then Kid Presentable, then Kid Ugly, and finally Kid Mo.
God, what was the other classic, too? A garage. Oh, somebody up there likes me.
Wow, it's pretty good Autumn, actually.
You've heard me some of the Simpsons voices before.
Yeah, the only one I could really do is a good... The only one I... Dog?
Yeah.
I'll go. Oh, hey, no problem.
I should have named him Santa's Little Helper. Satan's Little Helper is more like it.
Santos L. Helper.
Yes.
Yeah, who or what is Santos L. Helper? But one of my all-time favorites. I have so many all-time favorites.
Right there with you on that, Skeleton.
I want to take the test again. Why? So I can stable my license to Homer Simpson's big bald head. Really? Well, here's your written test. I'll get you started. BCBAD. And then he's running over all the parking codes. Homer had a piece of food in his face for 3 days. Oh, and it wasn't little either. It was a chicken wing. Oh, wing. Oh.
Yeah, Patty and Selma have their moments.
They do. And if anything, one of my all-time absolute favorite episodes ever is Selma's Choice.
That was a good one.
I felt that was the one that really had a lot of heart behind it, and it had a lot of humor, and it had... Because, I mean, what a formula to The Simpsons is that you have a main thing going on, but there's always a side hustle, and then things get wrapped up. Because, I mean, like, Selma's Choice, the whole crux of the episode is that Selma wants to have a kid because she doesn't want to die lonely like me, you know? But then you also have Homer sick because he ate the sandwich. So as a result, they all tie together because, you know, Selma wants to be a parent, so she takes the kids to Duff Gardens. And then there's Homer. This is all your fault. Oh, how could I stay mad at you?
And let's not forget the exchange from earlier in the car. Aunt Gladys may be gone, but her legend will live on. Yeah, Legend of the Dog-Faced Woman.
Dog-faced woman.
Legend of the Dog-Faced Woman. That was.
It was one of the best.
Okay.
He was a good. He gave to his community and asked little in return. He never. That's a woman? Dear Lord. Well, I suppose most of what I said could be salvaged.
Take a seat, bozo. And that eulogy better not show up on the bill.
Krusty's Funhouse. I remember renting that once.
Oh, the game?
You know, I forget what it was called originally, but that was actually a reskinned version of some other puzzle game that debuted on, I think, the Amiga. I don't remember what the hell it was called, though. Let me look that up. What was it? Red Rover, what the fuck? Rat Trap, apparently, was the name of the original game that was released on the Atari ST and Amiga and Commodore 64 before it got a total rehaul and was sold as something of a Simpsons game. Apparently, one of the less bad ones, for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, I don't remember it being terrible or anything.
As far as Simpson games go?
Yeah, as far as Simpson games go.
Speaking, yes.
Damn.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, you look at all the other ones that came out at the time. You know, Bart versus the Space Mutants. Not a fun one. Bart versus the World, even worse.
Yeah, it's not terrible, but Bart versus the World was worse.
Mm-hmm.
Bart's nightmare was a step in the right direction.
Yeah, believe it or not, I grew up with Bart versus the Space Mutants, and for as not excellent as it is, I did, for some reason, for a few days, decide to practice and memorize it and eventually beat it, even without any sort of Game Genie assistance. And I did legitimately beat it once, and I didn't think it was the worst thing ever, even if it certainly wasn't any great shakes either.
That nuclear power plant was a pain in the ass.
It really was, and the fact there wasn't even a final boss at the end was kind of a deflation too, but... I have had worse, and Bart versus the World is totally worse. I can't even get past the first fucking stage in that shit.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
I'd learned my lesson from actually buying Back to the Future. I made it a point to, rent games that could be questionable after that. So Space Mutants and World were definite rentals for me.
That's all they ever were.
Yes.
Virtual Bart was a piece of shit.
I don't think I ever even played that one.
I did rent that one and also Bart's Nightmare. I didn't get either. That was for the best. They both suck.
I think what makes Virtual Bart so much worse is the fact that there actually is some sort of fun elements in it. Like there's the Mad Max world, which is kind of all right. And then there's the one where you're like throwing tomatoes and eggs at the school kids to fuck up the school photo.
Yeah, the tomato one was probably the only thing from that game I liked. Everything else was bad.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was Bart's Nightmare the one with the Indiana Jones parody?
Oh, yes. that stage fucking blew. But yes, it was that one, yes.
Yeah. Well, as far as I was concerned, there was only one Simpsons game even worth talking about at the time, and it's been very heavily represented here.
Exactly.
The arcade.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I remember seeing that for the first time in the arcade shortly after it was released. It's like, wow, it's another Konami 4-player Konami beat 'em up like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This has to be good, and it was.
Oh, great. Everybody wanted to play as Bart.
Oh, of course.
Really? I always wanted to play as Homer.
I remember like a big deal in the arcade once is when we all got together and like 4-played it. We picked up the cop car and threw it.
Nice.
Holy shit, you can actually do that. Very nice. And yeah, I remember it got a Commodore 64 port of all things.
Yeah, I
but-
remember seeing those ports. Never played them, but I saw them.
Oh.
Yes. Too bad though that they never came to the Genesis or the Super Nintendo at the time. But
Apparently,
You know-
someone is working on homebrew versions for the Genesis and NES right now.
I can believe that. That's pretty rad.
Kind of like the guy who's doing X-Men for the Saturn.
Really? Oh wow, really? I didn't know
Yes.
someone was doing that for that.
Yes, and it's pretty much damn near arcade perfect.
Very nice.
That's impressive. But I mean, that is a Saturn too.
Yeah. Oh, the pictures and whatnot I've seen of the Genesis homebrew for the Simpsons arcade game, it's pretty close. You know, you can tell there's a few things they had to eliminate, but for the most part, it's looking pretty good. I just don't know if it's still being worked on.
I'll be right back.
All right.
Very nice.
Just wish I knew if they were still working on it. I hadn't seen anything in a while.
Yeah, I mean, it might not be a super deep game or anything, but it's just fun. It's it gets what a beat 'em up is all about, and you know, for being a sitcom show that wasn't really about action, you know, fuck, it was still fun for what it was, and like even if you're not going to fight like a kabuki actor with a naginata or whatever in the actual show proper, it was. It just had a very fun sense about itself, and like was kind of based off of like real early. Like I think the show was only just like 2 seasons in at the time that it ran, but it did get quite a bit of the flavor through pretty well. And also
yeah.
some of the interstitials would have a bongo or whoever they were, the rabbits that from Matt Groening's Life is Hell, which I thought was a nice touch.
Yeah, that and there's even a frame where, like, if Marge gets electrocuted, you can see bunny ears under her hair.
I remember that. That was like a sort of gag that they sort of threw around. That's why she had to have her hair up the way that it was. That also reminds me of an early concept where they like a real early idea they had was that Homer was actually the same character as Krusty the Clown, and there was supposed to be some sort of irony and like, you know, Bart disrespecting his father, but he's also like the childhood idol that he adores as well, or some crazy shit like that of course never actually materialized, but did kind of serve as the basis for what might possibly be my favorite episode ever, Homie the Clown.
Clown College. You can't eat that.
You could eat that.
You people have held me back long enough. I'm going to Clown College.
I don't think any of us expected him to say that.
Yeah, that is a great episode. Hey, what you doing there, neighbor? Putting air holes in the car.
He called them speed holes.
Yeah, that's it, speed holes.
An underrated line from that ep is something that Krusty's accountant says, something to the extent of, gambling is the best thing a person can do if he's good at it.
Yeah.
It's like, that is straight yet, you know, kind of useless advice.
Let me get this straight. You bet against the Harlem Globetrotters? I thought the Generals were due.
He's picking the ball on his finger. Just take it. That match was fixed. He was using a friggin' ladder for Cripe's sake. I love that bit so much.
Yeah. And of course the bit at the end when he finally pays off the gangster.
It's like $52 and 2 cents your change, and we thank you. I just love how much of a deliberate anticlimax that was. It's like some episodes or several bits were kind of like, you know, screw you, the audience bits, but not in a malicious way, just in a really. They knew what they were doing whenever they would subvert expectations at some point. They knew still how to be, you know, hilarious and legitimately fun feeling. But, you know, as the show went on, it went more into what my friend Andrew is observed in the later series. He doesn't like calling it zombie Simpsons. He instead refers to it as bummer Simpsons,
No.
where the sense that you get from the episodes is that they're really a lot more mean in unironic ways, and they're just like intent on not giving the characters what they want or being all that sympathetic. And there's a lot of arguments among the family. Like I just got through a very bad Future episode, which the only one we ever needed was Lisa's wedding, and that's what I say. But they did many, many more of those later, and almost none of them are good. And there's just this one where just like Marge and Lisa were really at each other's throats because Lisa decided she wasn't going to college after all, and that it was painful. It was a real bummer of an episode.
Honestly, out of all the ones they've done since season 20, I'm pretty sure I've seen them all at one point, but the only thing that even sticks out in my mind was the one episode where they did kind of a mini tribute to WKRP.
Really now? Which one was that?
It's got something to do with Skinner and Chalmers. I know that much. And I think they even close with the closing music from WKRP.
Oh, wait! I actually did see that one. The Road to Cincinnati, it was called.
Yeah.
It didn't... I don't know how much... Like, they did actually play the theme at the end. I'm not sure how much it actually touched on WKRP, but that was one of the less bad episodes I had seen lately.
Clown College.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it still had some bummerness about it, I felt.
Which one?
Oh, we were talking about a really, really, really late season one that I saw recently where... Skinner and Chalmers were going to Cincinnati for some sort of keynote speech, and I feel like that one could have been better than what it was, but there was a huge bummer element in it that I thought made it not as great as it could have been. I want to throw out a bit of a hot take, though.
Before you do that,
yes.
I just want to say, as a diehard WKRP fan, any reference is appreciated.
Wait,
At least, yeah.
WKRP, are you talking about the one where that was the old TV show in Cincinnati?
Yeah.
When they had the Thanksgiving thing and they threw the turkeys at the fucking airplane and they didn't realize the turkeys can't fly?
As God is my witness, I swear turkeys can fly.
That's the one. Yep. It's a great show. I actually did.
Those can't be
sort of-
skydivers. Oh my God, they're turkeys!
They're just falling out of the skies.
One of them just went through the windshield of a parked car.
Well, I have a little bit of... go ahead.
I just want to say that Rob suggested I did get to that one like a year or two ago in full, and I did really enjoy it. It was a sitcom that had some actual sauce to it.
Oh, it's a great show.
Absolutely.
It really is, yes.
A bit of a hot take about that Skinner Chalmers episode. My hot take is that those two characters have no business being in the forefront of any episode.
Yeah.
Did we want to touch upon the principal and the pauper? Womp womp.
Well, I was just about to say, case in point. That man, real Seymour Skinner. Get the fuck out of here.
I'm going to say this. I think that episode is overhated. I don't think it was nearly the beginning of the end super apocalypse that some of the show's more jaded stalwarts said it was. And yeah, there were parts that I did even like about it. But it still wasn't a very good episode, in my opinion.
I'm an imposter. That man is the real toasty cinnamon bun.
Just, oh my God. They're just not strong enough characters. I mean, even as a side story, and this is what I meant earlier, where I was like, there's one main thing and there's one side story. Skinner, Chalmers, all them are side story people.
Right.
At the end of the day.
I did want to ask, though, Fail, what do you think about the episode where Skinner was fired and he befriends Bart?
It worked because there was more to it than just that episode.
Right. That's a fair response, yes.
See, here's an example. Look at the episode when Bart joined the gangsters. You know, he joined the mafia.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then the side story was where's Principal Skinner?
Mm-hmm.
That's the side story, and that worked. Just and another side story that Skinner did. Shit, off the top of my head, there was the one where he was, missing, and they had what's her face, but there's one that I just can't think up. It might actually be the episode when he got fired, or another example. I wouldn't really call Skinner a catalyst in the episode when like Bart becomes a hall monitor and Lisa steals all the teachers' editions.
Yeah.
There wasn't really anything. It wasn't about Skinner, but I mean
Right.
something specifically about Skinner. Well, I mean, what was the whole crux of that episode? Skinner got fired. Why?
Why did he get
I
fired?
remember.
Again?
Bart brought Santa's little helper to show and tell.
Oh
The
yeah.
Green Scotsman.
Yes, exactly.
Make way for Willie.
And then
Wait for
Chalmers
Willie,
was
a fucking gas bag.
conducting an investigation at the time, and it was really bad timing. So yes.
But you know what? In all honesty, thinking about it, that episode pretty much was about Skinner. It was about, because at the very end, it was the whole thing of, if I, become a principal again, that means that you and I can no longer be friends unless you behave yourself.
Yeah, no, there's some actual substance to that.
There was some substance to that. Well, how about Principal Skinner and Patty?
Yes,
Oh, that was
Principal
an early
Charming.
one. Yeah, I forgot about
Cons,
that one.
possible homosexual.
But I mean, what was Skinner the main focus of that, or was Skinner just a part of Patty and Selma's relationship with each other?
Yeah, it is a good. There was a lot of focus on the Bouvier sisters, and also on Homer, who was trying to make it work before it went awry. So,
Well, Homer tried to make it work, but I mean, pretty much it all went to the wayside. Like any notion of what made Homer have to do? All right, I'm trying to think here. I'm thinking back to the episode. Marge woke him up. All right, that was it. Because Marge woke his ass up and said, "Hey, do you remember when we went to go see? I think it was either Mystic Caverns or it was the world's largest bowling pin." Or whatever it was, she basically said, "Yeah, and you promised me something that I could call upon it whenever I wanted to." And he's like, "But that was just an idle promise. Not to me, it wasn't." But that's when she brought up the whole thing of, you're going to find a man for him, for Selma. And then it just all went to the way, like Homer just went gone out of that episode.
yeah.
But I wouldn't say that Skinner was a focal point, but he was a side piece, and it worked because you didn't see too much of him.
Indeed.
But I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think if there was any real others that involves Skinner.
Actually, Faye, let me ask this: is this mostly just that you feel this about Skinner specifically, or are there other characters on the side that you don't think are really capable of holding their own as a full plot?
I think it's that there's a lot of characters that are not capable of holding their own plot. I mean, like, hot take, Apu. I didn't really care for the Apu getting fired episode, where they go to India and all that shit.
Actually, you know what? That was actually running off of a question I wanted to ask. What are some Golden Era episodes you're not a fan of? And that would be one of them. That was from season 5.
Trying to think. What are some golden ones that I wasn't a... I know I'm
Let's
asking a
hurl a
question. with a
bricky
question.
mart.
Yeah, let's hurl a bricky mart.
Yeah,
Like
that's
there's some early ones that I absolutely will always like hold a lot of cool memories of. I'm trying to think from that era. Just I'm cheating here, but I'm gonna get a list of the episodes.
No,
just
that's
like
what I'm doing too. I don't expect you to remember off the top of your head. It's fine.
We're all cheating to be
Right.
fair.
Oh, good. Then I don't have to like turn in my fucking Simpsons card. My decoder ring. All right, so let's see here. Krusty gets. You know what? Could they have ever done a Sideshow Bob episode by himself? Because notice that the later ones they tried to make it about him and they were kind of lame.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the one with Italy was really stupid. I'm not, in my opinion. So
He just wound up becoming really overbearing. And I mean, I can kind of deal with the one where they have like the Frasier references, which I can dig because that
Yes.
works.
yeah, brother
But-
from another series. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Cecil.
But a lot of the other ones where it's like, Bob runs for mayor and all that, I'm just kind of, all right, how many fucking times is he going to try to kill him?
Yeah, no, it does sort of reach a sort of like point of comic book improbability where it just
It kind of
Yeah.
it kind of peaked, I want to say, after the Cape Fear one.
that is a fair assessment.
Yeah.
Of
course,
it's
part
kind
that-
of hard to go from stepping on rakes about 20 times.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. If we were going to talk episodes that I didn't really care for in the very beginning, so let's see. With season 1, Babysitter Bandit was good. Krusty Gets Busted was a cool one. Crepes of Wrath I thought was good. Very interesting subplot with Bart having to learn something for once.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The Belly Dancer one, it was kind of. Well, no, there was one really great moment when it was like, "Hey, Mom, how about some grub?" and she roared at him like a lion.
I do remember that bit, yeah.
Life on the Fast Lane was an interesting one because
I
when
like
it came
that one,
to-
yeah.
when it came to straying, Marge struck first.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one with Jacques, right?
Yeah. And then she's sitting there getting pissy about Lurleen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. This is actually something that Simpsons centric channel I like, the Real Gems, went over recently, and something that has really marred a lot of the later era series. But there are a fucking boatload of quote unquote trouble in paradise plots. Which are about Homer and Marge's relationship being on the rocks, and it just really got stupid later on with that.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean kind of like when he became a teacher and he started telling all of his sexy talk?
Fatal.
Yeah.
Actually, that one I won of a Golden Era episode I'm not crazy about. That
Yeah.
has some good bits in it, but I just ultimately think it's like a real bummer episode from back
Yeah.
in this era. And the resolution being, I know what I can offer you, complete and utter dependence, and that's what they
Homer,
unironically
that's not a
go
good
with.
thing.
No.
No, it's not, and it's I don't know. It's just not. It's a feel bad time, I think, and that
Yeah.
I didn't think much about it back then, but it just really bugged me more and more as time went on. That this is just kind of how it is, and it's like no wonder there are so many fucking Trouble in Paradise plots later on in the show's run, because yeah, there you go. It's just oof.
And the
Not
worst
great.
part is that their marriage was built on an amazing foundation.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
really think about it.
Yeah,
There
exactly.
was a good foundation. There's always the classic, now I know who I should have gone to the prom with. Who? Hi, prom date. That was just adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the way it was. That one's very evergreen, very perfect, and
That was a really good episode.
yeah,
They,
absolutely.
they fell in love, got married, and put a cheap TV. There was that, and then there was also the one when I thought it was pretty heart-wrenching when Homer threw the for sale sign on the car and ripped the disco suck sticker off and put it on his suitcase and left a note saying, you won't see me again until I'm a man.
Oh yeah, no, that was that. No, that wasn't the same episode. Shit, which
That
one was that?
That was the episode. They did another going back in time thing, and this is the one when Homer got Marge pregnant, and then they got married. They got married at the shotgun thing. The 10th wedding is on the house. Hey, this marriage is going to last forever. You know how many times I hear that? But the whole thing is just that he couldn't hold down any work. He wasn't making enough money working at the Putt and Go, so he started looking for work, and he wound up working at the Gulp and Blow.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm trying to think what else was there to that. Like, why were they telling that? That's. I'm sure I'll find it.
Yeah, shit. I
because I'm
actually don't
going through.
remember.
Telltale Head, I didn't really give two shits about that one.
That's fair. That one's
Yeah.
a little weird.
Call of the Simpsons was really, really good with the RV.
Yeah.
Moaning Lisa had heart behind it. I didn't really care too much for Bart the General.
Yeah, no, that one's. I don't know what you'd say about it exactly. That one felt like it was like a script from another show, but then again, we didn't really know what The Simpsons was that early on, so I'm not sure if that's a fair criticism.
All I can
They were
say
able
about
to
that
kind of
episode is that there were only 3 good wars: the American Revolution, World War II, and the Star Wars trilogy.
That's a pretty good bit, I'll give you that.
All right, so let's see here. Jumping into season 2 territory. Bart gets an F. That's when he becomes friends with Martin. I thought that was a pretty good one just because it was a really heartfelt moment at the very end when he's crying and he's like, I really, really tried. And she's like, I know, but sometimes it just doesn't work out, huh? And he's like, yeah, well, that's exactly how this guy felt when he, surrendered. And she's like, what? He's like, oh, the famous battle. And it was like he actually got it.
I still feel really good about that bit all these years later, yes.
Yeah.
When he was, you actually got to see Bart for what he really is. Simpson and Delilah, when he got the hair, that was a really good one.
Carl.
Hello, I'm Carl. I deserve it. I am nature's greatest miracle.
Oh, Harvey Firestein was great in that one, yes.
He did a good Harvey Firestein.
That is really good.
Thank
yes.
you.
I wish I could.
I went to go say goodbye to the girls in the typing pool.
Treehouse of Horror, absolutely fantastic. 2 cars in every garage through front. The Blinky the Three-Eyed Fish, that was a fucking good one.
There's one part of that I do quote around here pretty constantly. Dear God, we paid for all this stuff ourselves, so thanks for nothing.
Only a moron wouldn't cast his vote for Monty Burns. Dancing Homer is one of my all-time favorite ones.
That is also a good one, yeah.
Our first view of Capital City.
Yes, and you know what? Whenever they do Simpsons driving at night scenes, I feel oddly nostalgic about them.
I can see that, actually.
It's kind of like when you're playing on the NES and you see like Rad Racer at night or you see Punch Out at night. When they're doing the training montage. It's just very oddly nostalgic and calming.
Oh, yeah.
But Dancing Homer, the more and more I've grown up, I used to joke about it, but now I'm realizing that my father was very Homer.
Yeah.
Not the stupid idiot, but just the angry dad that tried but had his hands full.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know that archetype well as well.
Marge, this ticket doesn't just give me a seat. It also gives me the right, no, the duty to make a complete ass of myself. Dead Pudding Society was a cool one. Barnes versus Thanksgiving. I actually really enjoyed that one. A lot of heart behind that one.
Yep.
Totally.
Bart the Daredevil was absolutely hilarious.
The Gorge, which they made sort of a running gag for a while.
Rocks. Jagged rocks. Cutting me with their jags.
Itchy and Scratchy and Marge. That's the one. You know what? That's a good episode, and it's a fantastic episode for pretty much anybody who's ever wanted to censor anything in their lives, because Dr. Marvin Monroe at the very end. Now, wait a minute. How could you be for censoring a cartoon like Itchy and Scratchy, but you don't have a problem with David's Doodle?
Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't do this. Don't do that.
Take that, you dumb squirrel.
I know Homer didn't get it.
There's one bit I love in Itchy, Scratchy, and Marge where they do actually take the piss out of Itchy and Scratchy, and they're just saying, lemonade? Please. Just something about how incredibly lame it was cracked me up.
Well, that was, it was supposed to highlight how they just sucked the life out of it.
Yep.
Yeah. Horrifying, but hilarious in a way.
You are my best friend.
Bart gets hit by a car. Love that one. There's the Fugu one, which I still kind of get a cold feeling every time you see Homer drop the tape and you hear that gong.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
Fucking A. The Way We Was, we just talked about how great that was. Homer and Lisa versus the Eighth Commandment. That's an episode that I kind of could have done without.
Yeah, it's not one I really mentally take a lot away from, but
Yeah.
I do like Drederick Tatum, early Drederick before he got redesigned in season 8, talking about how, you
Yeah.
know, like, if I end up back here, you know I really fucked
I
up.
fucked up bad.
Yeah.
That is a great bit if nothing else.
That was Bart's birthday episode, wasn't it?
Oh shit, was it? I suppose it was, yeah.
Or it was either that or it was the Flaming Moe's episode.
Oh yeah, that might have been.
It was one of them because Homer was watching TV and fucking got fed up and left. Principal Charming just talked about how we like that. Oh brother, where art thou? I like that episode.
That's a
I'll keep
classic.
hearing it.
Yeah, it is a great one, even if it ends on a real bummer note, but it didn't feel like a bad bummer for the sake of bummer. It felt more like, you know, this was earned. This was her being an idiot, that this is how it led to this.
Unfortunately,
He
certainly.
was an unbridled success until he found out he was a Simpson.
That's a great summary of it. Yeah.
Herb had the Simpsons gene, unfortunately.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bart's dog gets an F. That's the one with Santa's little. Oh, that was a great one when he ate Homer's shoes.
Yes.
Sometimes you just got to spoil yourself.
That was
better be for 125 big ones. $125, Bart. Homer, don't. Play off of that.
and I'm pretty sure Tracy
I thought
Ullman
we
was
were-
in that one.
I think she was. I thought we agreed to discuss a major purchase. Well, you bought all those smoke alarms and we never had a single fire. That's something my father would say.
Yeah.
Old Money. That was an excellent one. That's the one
Yeah.
with B.
Yeah,
Well, we
that
were just
one-
talking about how I was waiting on dinner to come, and I'm like, oh, B.
Discount Lion Safari.
Damn these childproof doors.
I like the fact.
I say that a bit.
I like the fact they got. Was it Audrey Meadows?
She
to
was
do her
in the
voice?
Honeymooners.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Audrey. I thought it was Joyce Randolph, but it was Audrey Meadows.
No, Joyce Randolph played Trixie.
Yeah, I thought it was. I knew it was the Honeymooners, but I thought they got Joyce Randolph. Either way, she was good.
I could swear at the time that Audrey Meadows was the last surviving cast member.
You know what? You're right. She was the last surviving one. Brush was great. Oh shit! The Brush with Greatness. That was one with Marge paints.
Yep.
Oh yeah, we were talking about Ringo Starr's lateness to the replies earlier.
Forgive the lateness of my reply.
I hung it on me wall.
I don't know, but yeah, no, it's a really. For some reason, I remember the chant that Bart and Lisa did in that one. Lincoln, Lincoln, I've been thinking, what the hell have you been drinking? Oh, is it
Yes.
water? Is it wine? Oh my god, it's turpentine. I forget if that's an actual chant that existed before that, but I
Or
like
the
it.
all-time classic. I want to go to Mount Splashmore. Take me, take me, take me
now.
Take
And
me
Homer
now.
Get
Yep.
his fat ass stuck in that slide. Honestly, that's a part of the grounded in reality thing because everyone's been on a long line at the amusement park, and who's had a sibling that they would pinch to make him cry? It's like, look, we got to try to find our mom. Let us through.
Yep.
But Homer getting stuck in that tube as a kid made me terrified to go in those things.
Valid, incredibly valid. Yes.
Granted,
Yeah.
I've never ever been as big as Homer was, and even when I was like 9, I was like, I don't want to get stuck in that fucking thing. But see, that's a perfectly good example of where they have like a main thing and they have a side thing, and then they all come together at the end.
Mm-hmm.
War, The Simpsons, probably. Lisa's Substitute. That's the one with Dustin Hoffman.
The
Yeah.
biggest tearjerker in the series that's completely earned.
You are Lisa Simpson.
Yeah, I can't say much
I'm
about
glad
that.
I'm not
Impressive.
crying because I
Yeah.
hate for you to think that what I'm about to say is based on emotion, but you, sir, are a baboon.
Oh yeah, real powerful moment. But then, like Homer's comment later is like, you know, the ugliest of all monkeys or whatever he said.
You're smelliest ape of them all. And then he sits on the dollhouse, and she's like, "Look, if you just want me to forgive you," and he's like, "No, I just wish I knew what to say." But I mean, like, once again, true touching, definitely a tearjerker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then there's-
genuine pathos.
But hey, then you had the side story about Bart trying to win the election over Martin Prince.
6.
for Martin.
Now that I have your attention, vote for Bart.
1 for Martin, 2 for Martin.
That's enough, Gloria. She's the queen of the Hoppies. Queen of the Hoppies. Here's your crown, your majesty. Queen of the Hoppies. Get away from me, you swine.
I will admit something. Probably for it sort of being the Trouble in Paradise episode, I'm not the hugest fan of the War of the Simpsons. It is a little bit jagged for my sense of humor. But the Queen of the Harpies bit is 11 out of 10. No notes. Just that's
Yeah, but for the Trouble in Paradise thing, there was a lot more comedy behind it, but there was also some real shit behind it too.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
one of my all-time favorite lines was, there's 2 of them. If you want him to live through the night, I suggest you roll him onto his stomach.
Oh, thank you, Doctor. I will.
Remember, I said
If.
And then she tries to lift his ass up, and she's like, I've never been so embarrassed in all my life. Why? What'd you do? And then she just dropped his ass and then woke him up with the vacuum cleaner and then turns on the radio so you hear the Mexican hat dance. And she's like, I don't want the kids to know what's going on because I always hated knowing that my parents were fighting. And then they're sitting there listening to the music, the kids, and they're like they're fighting in the car again. That tune always sends a shiver down my spine. It shows how kids are more in tune than you think. Even when you try to protect them, you're doing a worse job of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, the validity of that whole thing, though, was just, Homer, why are we here? Oh, because I got drunk and looked down her dress.
Not
at the
those
bottom.
ones. The ones at the bottom.
Jesus.
But I mean, she had a really good reason for being pissed off at him.
Oh,
But
yeah.
that was one of my favorite lines, though, is when she said, Homer, I always thought that there was a line that you could never cross that would make me stop loving you. But last night, you didn't just cross that line, you threw up on it. And I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, that was good.
Like, she burned his ass there. But, hey, at the very end, what was the whole thing? All this fish represents is how selfish you are. And he's like, yeah, fine, I'll throw it back then. Oh, yeah, sure you will. And he did it. But still, it was hilarious when he punched the fish in the face and broke an oar over its head. Comic book one I thought was excellent.
Oh,
We
yeah.
ended up with nothing because the 3 of us couldn't share.
Yep.
Blood Feud, really good one. That was the one with the transfusion. The classic, you stink. You're a senile, buck-toothed old mummy with bony girl arms, and you smell like an elephant's butt.
There's still one bit in that I think is the best.
Uh,
Hello, my name is Mr. Burns. I believe you have a letter for me.
Yep.
Okay, Mr. Burns, what's your first name?
I don't know. Great plan, Bart.
Before we somewhat decided on a Treehouse of Horror theme for our avatars, I actually considered being the Olmec head from the end of that episode. It's an ending.
Let's leave it at that.
What does it do? Whatever it's doing now. And I do like how in all the future episodes you saw that fucking thing in the basement.
Yes.
Yeah, I appreciate the continuity. Yeah, that was pretty great.
Especially the one when Homer had to clean the basement when they got Stampy the elephant.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's when he got high off of all the chemicals. But I mean, I'm looking at these episodes here. Like, once you jump into season 3, they were on fire. We got Homer alone. That's when Marge has a nervous breakdown. Bart the lover when he's sending saucy letters to Mrs. Krabappel.
That was one I actually was not a huge fan of.
The Bart the lover one?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Hot take.
Just really didn't care for it too much. I mean, it was decent, and there's episodes in the season I like less than that one. But it just, I don't know, just didn't click with me.
I should start going to parents' night. Wow.
That was
Homer
good.
joining the softball team. That was a good one. Separate vocations. That was Lisa doing the homemaker and Bart being the police officer. Dog of Death. That's the one when they fucked up with the lottery, which was funny.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Lurleen Lumpkin, that was funny. Black Widower was another really good one. That's the one when Sideshow Bob marries Selma.
Yep.
I'm afraid the only victim are the good people at Best Western Hotels.
And then we got the Auto Show, which obviously I've quoted that one. I love that one.
Yeah.
Especially the part when I want that guy out of here now. And Marge is like, I know how you feel, but he is good with the kids. So the lady drove faster, but a strange car kept banging into her from behind. And that's when she swerved off the road and lost the other car. And that's when she realized the man in the car wasn't trying to hurt her. No, he was trying to warn her about the axe-wielding maniac hiding in the back seat. Did the maniac kill her? Natch. And you know how I know? How? Because I was that maniac.
That was great.
That was
Bart
excellent.
Falls in Love. That was the one with Samantha Stinky.
Yeah, I guess
Bart Falls in
Kimmy
Love.
Robertson from Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, David Lynch.
Yeah, exactly. That made Thursday a real bummer. That was a real kick in the balls.
I'm
Brother,
sorry,
can you
Mike.
start
I have to
now?
do it now.
All right, go ahead.
Wow. Brilliant. I have absolutely no idea what's going on.
I appreciate you weren't going to do that at first, but I allowed it.
You did it. It's
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't even going to go ahead and make that reference just because, out of respect for David Lynch.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was also, Chief Wakeham, don't eat the clues.
Did you have the same backward talking dream as I did?
Yeah.
I did not read the crossover comic that they did, Brandon.
Yeah, I wasn't even aware there was one, actually.
Nah.
Yeah,
They
it's
started
just-
to-
I have read that.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Cool.
It's better than the televised crossover.
Shit. Well,
I'm
I gotta
willing to
get on
believe it.
then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If it gave more focus to other characters than Bender, then yeah, it would have. I'm
Well,
sure.
yeah, Fry plays a big part in it.
Excellent.
Brother, can
Yeah.
you spare 2 times? That was a really good one too. That
Yes.
was look, Homer, could you stop thinking about your ass? I try, but I can't.
It's drinking the water.
This leash that means us both.
Okay, but give me
My
the drinking
favorite,
bird.
though, you lost the couch. I lost the heavyweight championship. Oh yeah, heavyweight championship. There's like 3 of those. Homer, you're gonna find a couch that you love just as much as you love the old one. Hey Fraser, shut up! Barney, you be riding my back all night. Oh yeah, care to step outside? Let's do it. Knock the fuck out of him.
So,
Good.
first
So, I mean,
annual Montgomery C. Burns Award for Outstanding Achievement in the Field of Excellence. Oh.
So season 3 was pretty much on fire. Season 4, Camp Krusty. I like that one.
Before we jump into season 4, there were 2 other episodes from 3 that I was not a huge fan of.
I actually
What's
know one of those you are not so big on.
Yeah, Stark Raving Dead.
The Michael Jackson crossover, yeah. And I can see not being a huge fan of that one, especially, like, I think this is the conclusion I came to, but you said something that, like, it was much more of a publicity stunt than anything.
Yeah,
That's sort of the feeling you got out of it.
exactly. It did have a nice message at the end. Bart was nice to Lisa on her birthday and all that, but it was just like, And the other one was Lisa the Greek.
That was the one when the jazz thing, right?
That's when she was picking the winning football teams.
Oh, you didn't like that one?
Yeah, I didn't. It's not that I didn't like it. It didn't really hit home as much as the other ones in that season did.
What
I'm
do you
going.
feel was missing?
Rob.
What?
Fail said, "What do you think that was missing that made it a great episode?"
Thinking back, it's been a while since I've seen it.
I'm going to speak for you and say, is this because you're not a sports fan? That's
No.
just me being a dumbass.
Nope, got nothing to do with that.
Okay.
See, I rather enjoyed that episode because it did teach Homer that he was a piece of shit to Lisa.
Yeah,
that is true.
aspect
Yes.
of it.
No,
So, I mean,
absolutely.
there was something really important to be learned from there, and it showed how Homer used her.
Mm-hmm.
Homer,
And she actually went and taught him a really good lesson, you know, and he didn't truly get scared until, you know, depending on what season you watched it in, because it was either the Cowboys and the Redskins or when it was always Buffalo. So there was it was either the Washington Redskins and the Buffalo Bills, or I think it was the Dallas Cowboys and I think it was Dallas. It is Dallas, but they changed it through there's two different ones that they did, but it was always Buffalo each year, and it was "If I Love You, Washington" or Dallas. Yep, it is Dallas.
The Denver Broncos.
hey Homer, didn't you say that if Duff Dry wins, Lisa hates you?
Not the Dry Washington.
I do love that bit. Also, Brandon, the Treehouse of Horror Time Machine was season 6. Treehouse of Horror 5, Time and Punishment.
Yes, my all-time favorite Treehouse of Horror.
It really is, yes.
Oh, I wish I
hadn't killed that fish.
Which, of course, as you've noticed, is my avatar, the fish. Right, right before Homer sits on it.
The part when that episode made me lose my shit is when he sneezed on the T-Rex and it stood up and sneezed. And then you see like 3 stegosaurus drop dead, pterodactyls are falling out of the sky, and Homer's just like, this is
going to cost me. It's so good.
Marge, my
But
dear,
know,
would you pass me a donut?
Donut? What's a donut? Yeah, dead sister-in-laws, luxury sedan, well-behaved kids. I hit the jackpot. And then as soon as he leaves, oh, it's raining again.
Yeah. It's like, should have stuck around, Homer.
We missed a couple bangers from season 3, though. Lisa Goes to Washington.
Yeah, that was good.
That was, oh, God. Good morning, sir. This is your wake-up call. Wake-up call? It's 3 a.m. Sorry, fatso.
Look, Homer, the IRS. Boo! Boo yourself.
And you know, it's funny because every single time I ever heard the IRS, me being a lifelong wrestling fan, I thought of Ern R. Shyster.
Yeah, yes, one of Mike Rotunda's personalities.
Tax cheats are going to get what's coming to you.
A very interesting idea for a wrestler, I must say.
Hey, it worked.
I mean,
the all-time classic, though. No, thank you. I'd rather just push this button. Beep. No! And all the air masks come down. Ah! We're all... And then the plane's landing while they're all screaming.
That was great.
Next episode, When Flanders Fails.
Yeah.
When Homer opened up the Leftorium. That was a great episode.
Yeah, that was.
Affordable tract housing made us neighbors, but you made us friends.
yeah, that was actually one that played pretty well to Homer being an asshole, but then he actually learned a lesson about it.
Yeah, and you see, it wasn't just so much of him being a stupid asshole. It was just he's an asshole.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Ooh, that would be a shame.
Yeah.
Flanders. And then the irony is that he's choking, and Flanders saved his life.
Yeah.
There's always that nice little irony there. But what was that classic line from that one, too? Was, even the good book can't help me this time, Homer. Why not? I sold it to you for 7 cents.
Yes. But that look on Homer's face when he goes up the escalator and sees Flanders actually out of business.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh. It's like, well.
But didn't you notice that, like, throughout the episode, there was so many opportunities for him to say something,
Yep.
and then as time went by, he started becoming more sympathetic. Like like he started to. Well, actually, there's a. Never mind. And then there was Mr. Burns, my kingdom for a left-handed cat opener. And then he's like, "Oh, there's a story." And then he has the thought bubble. Come on, Homer, tell him I'm dying here.
Yeah.
Sorry, Flanders. And then the one guy, ironically, from the IRS is knocking on the door. And he's like, does it make you feel good about yourself to owe people money? We've been very patient with you, Mr. Flanders. Wait a minute, Flanders, I'm Homer Simpson. Flanders is in debt? Are you sure? We don't make mistakes. Damn these left-handed ledgers. You can't write with these things. Oh, there's a store where you can, you said your name's Simpson? See you on Thursday.
Yeah.
But that's the point when he was getting ready to actually tell someone about it, and it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to see Homer like evolve a bit and not be such a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But did you ever notice a funny thing too? What did you say? See you on Thursday? When was The Simpsons on for us when we were children?
Thursdays.
Yep, 8 p.m. Fox.
Yeah, in direct competition with the Cosby Show.
Yeah, and they beat the shit out of the Cosbys, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
But don't you get it? See you on Thursday.
Uh-huh.
I like that.
Very clever.
Bart the Murderer. That was the one when he comes to make legs of Manhattan.
Yes, the one where he joins the mob.
Fucking A, I missed a lot of episodes in season 3 because there's Bart the Murderer when he joins the mob, and then Homer to find Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo, press a tiger by itself.
Yes.
Looks like I pulled a Homer. Another really good one. The Eeny Harata Tuede. The Eeny Harata Tura what?
What was that one again? That was
That was when the plant was about to melt down and Homer found the right button.
Oh yeah, that was the same episode. Okay. Oh yeah,
And then, another really touching one. I'm sorry. Like father, like clown.
oh yeah, Krusty's father.
Mm-hmm.
Rabbi
When he reunited
Krustovsky.
with his father, that was really one of the most touching things ever.
Mm-hmm. And we went through without mentioning either Flaming Moe's or Burns Verhoeven der Kraftwerk.
Wait, say that again. The second part.
Burns Verhoeven der Kraftwerk.
Oh, that was when he sold it to the Germans. Oh, I quote that one too. Ooh, the Germans are mad at me. I'm
Stop
so
that.
scared.
Stop
Ooh,
that.
the Germans.
But we Germans are not all candy and sunshine.
Yeah, we Germans aren't all smiles and sunshine.
Oh, that and still think one of my favorite bits of that is the Land of Chocolate.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. We were talking about chocolate. That was 10 minutes ago. All right, let me ask you a question. What did you think of Lisa's pony?
Lisa's pony showed exactly how far Homer would go to make her happy, and in the end, that was pretty touching itself.
It was touching, but I mean, you know what? I think the part that really hit for me, just as a father, because I never did this shit, but I was just thinking that there are parents out there like this. Homer, look, Lisa's taking her first steps. Are you taping it? Yes. All right, I'll watch it later. And then the next part goes over. Dad. Did you hear that, Homer? Marge, please, I'm busy. And then he's like, no wonder she hates me. I didn't even know that she was alive.
Yep.
That's what he tried to play. He tried to drink tea with her, and the kids laughed at him.
And I didn't realize how long it had been since I've seen that episode.
It's definitely an excellent one. But then we kind of did the same thing, but opposite way around. Saturdays of Thunder.
Oh yeah.
When he built the soapbox racer with Bart.
Yep, and
Bart's... you almost felt bad for Homer. I'll just sit here in Little Lightning and pretend that for one brief shining moment I had a son.
And that's when the wheels came off, right?
Yep.
And it was his hero was 3-time soapbox derby champion
Ronnie Beck.
Ronnie Beck, not yet.
There was that, and then Flaming Moe's. See, that one I never forgave Moe for.
Yeah, that was a pretty asshole thing for Moe to do.
Moe was the piece of shit of the century, and I think Moe was probably one of like the most like shittiest characters ever.
Well, he's shown that side of himself in later episodes too.
Just the scumbag thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, Marge, are you happy with Homer? Really?
Yeah.
But you know what? I will say that Moe does have probably one of the greatest songs ever. Money gets you one more round, so drink it down. Money gets you one more round, and you're out on your ass. Oh, God, my spine.
That was great. But Flaming Moe's, the one part I remember from that is the making people happy bit.
Ooh, look at me.
I'm making people happy. I'm a magical man from Happy Land. Gumdrop house on Lollipop Lane.
Oh, by the way,
I was being sarcastic. Well, duh. Just classic.
Yeah, absolutely classic.
And, I have nothing against Aerosmith. I actually like a lot of their stuff. But Homer did fall on them, and that was hilarious.
Yeah. Hey, where's Joey? Mrs. Krabappel, I really need my drumsticks. Come and get them. Damn, she was a town bicycle, wasn't she?
Yes, she was. In fact,
she was hooking up with the chef when Homer ate fugu too.
Yeah, I think it was in Flaming Moe's that I think it was the same episode when Homer goes in to talk to Moe. At one point, he bumps into her, and she's like, "Hey, sailor, looking for a good time? You're my kid's teacher." Oh, single dad, huh?
No. Well, let's pretend you are.
Yes.
Man, contemptuous. So I married Marge. Oh, that was why they were talking about how Marge was first pregnant with Bart, because Marge thought she was pregnant, and then she's like, "Shouldn't we have gone with a more reputable test?" But Marge, this is the one that comes with the corn pipe.
Yeah, that was great.
But Radio Bart, that was the one with the birthday. I love that episode.
That's the one where he did the kid down the well thing, right?
Yep. The canary goes out the hole. Gentlemen, this canary died of natural causes. Back in the hole.
Yeah, I thought it was funny Sting's bit in that.
Actually, I don't think I've ever heard him play one of your albums. Marge, please. He's a good digger.
Yeah.
Marge and Chains, the Osaka flu. See, you know what? That's one thing that I don't really buy into too much is the Simpsons predicted this, that. The Simpsons predicted COVID.
Yeah, that's no.
Sorry, I had to go to the bathroom for a bit. What did I walk back in on?
Well, we discussed Flaming Moe's. You missed that completely.
Damn, great episode.
Love that episode, but Moe was a piece of shit, and I don't think I've ever forgiven him since.
Yeah, he's his likability has certainly been up and down over the years. Personally, I do love the boxing episode a lot, but that one was a pretty damning look at him pretty early on, all things considered.
But on the other hand,
go ahead.
On the other hand, Homer did fall on Aerosmith.
Yeah, at least.
Moe is a huge part of one of my kids' favorite Simpsons moments ever.
Oh?
I think you take an unfair advantage of my generous offer. Shut up!
Free peanuts with every beer, and then there's Moe with the giant bag throwing it down, and the elephant is just like going ape shit in the bag.
Oh,
Uncle Moe.
That's one of my kids' favorites right there. And then the next scene, you see Stampy all, Dad, you need to feed him plants. He can't just eat peanuts.
Yeah. Now
that was another good one. Season 3 pretty solid. Camp Krusty for season 4, enjoyed the hell out of that one.
Yeah.
That was just hilarious.
Taking you to Tijuana.
Are you sure that's safe? Well, it ain't getting any safer. I mean, he's got a point.
I think of Barry, one of the kids. Oh God! Actually, I think he just ate his hat.
Was it a nice hat?
Oh yeah. Oh God!
Oh my God! Well, I'm gonna make it all up to you. Hi, kids. Welcome to Camp Krusty. I'll see you in a few weeks. But until then,
Mr. Black.
is going to take over things for me. So I want you to treat
Mr. Black.
with the same respect you treat me. Now here's
Mr. Black.
Gentlemen, too evil.
Yes.
To the hydrofoil. A streetcar named Marge. What did you think of that one?
That was another Homer's an asshole kind of thing. But at least in the end, he realized he was being an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I hate to say it, but was he at least being honest? You know, when he's like, look, I don't care. And I try to get into these kooky projects that you do, and it doesn't work for me.
Truthfully.
Like, what projects?
Yeah, he does get honest in that.
And he was pretty straightforward. He's like, look, I don't care, and I have always been trying to fake interest in all your kooky projects.
Mm-hmm. But
I mean,
that's, you know.
But that's part of being married, you know.
Right.
Sometimes it's like what Marge was saying to Lisa in an episode that you didn't like, Lisa the Greek, when, you know, she's like, listen, sometimes you just have to, you know, pretend to be interested in those silly car chase movies, and I pretend to be interested in looking at power tools. You'd be amazed what Bridging the Gap would do.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's
Homer the Heretic. Classic.
Oh, yes.
Thou hast forsaken my church. Well, sort of, but what? But I'm a good guy. I work hard and I love my kids. So why should I hear about why I'm going to hell? You got a point there.
I think one of my all-time favorite bits from anything is where Ned throws Homer out on the mattress to safety and bounces him back into the house. Amazing visual gag.
That was great.
Yeah, but the all-time classic, everybody's stupid but me. And then falls
Was that also the episode with I am so smart? I am so smart. SMRT.
No, Homer goes to college.
That was when he goes to college, yep.
Rats. I'm thinking of something else. Well, my bad.
Yeah.
But, you know, talking about another how far Homer will go, Lisa the Beauty Queen.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
When Lisa thinks that she's ugly, and Homer's like, you're cute as a bug's ear. Fathers have to say that stuff. Dad, am I cute as a bug's ear? No, you're homely as a mule's butt.
That's Abe for you.
He sold his ride on the Duff Blimp.
Yep.
And then Barney crashed it into a building. But that was Lisa being Lisa, though. I don't want to be a corporate shill. I'm speaking out of the evils in society, from dog napping to cigarettes.
And then what came after that? Treehouse R3, right?
Yep. That was that was another one of my favorites. Behold mighty Caesar in all his glory. And then you got Martin. I am Calliope, the muse of heroic poetry. No kidding.
The fucking the doll bit. The doll is cursed bit. That is where that is from.
I'm Krusty the Clown and I don't like you. I'm Krusty the Clown and I'm going to kill you.
You pulled the string that time.
Pull the string that time.
I said I was going to kill you. You, Homer Simpson.
You know, there's actually a bit from
Socks can stare me. They are making me dizzy.
You know, I actually opened up Eating Candy in Outer Space with a quote from that episode.
Which was quote?
Grandpa, why don't you tell us a story? You've led an interesting life. That's a lie, and
That's
you
a
know
lie,
it.
and You know it. But I've seen a lot of movies. And Homer Khan was hilarious.
Yes.
You know, you look a little flushed. Maybe you should eat more vegetables and less people. Uh-huh. Then falls 5 feet.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite low-key bits was, I think women and seamen don't mix, sir. Oh, we don't know what you
think.
We know what you think.
He's not dead. No, but his career is. I remember when Al Jolson went amok and climbed the Chrysler building. Couldn't get arrested for the town after that.
Classic, one of my all-time favorites. I was strolling through the gas one day.
Yeah. And then, even after Homer was asleep, he still managed to eat Smithers.
Mm-hmm.
I actually
Itchy and Scratchy the movie.
Classic. But let me add one thing. My dad's a big fan of the original King Kong. I sent him that segment.
What did he think of it?
He thought it was hilarious.
Yep. Wait, Marge, I can't find your father.
Oh, Homer.
And the boom, 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 boom.
Yep. But yeah, Itchy and Scratchy the movie. That was great.
Great one.
Absolutely.
All right. Do you think that Homer was right? Even after everybody was like, "Listen, you laid down the law, and I'm proud of you, but I think we got through to him."
But look what happened. He became Chief Justice of the Supreme Court.
Yeah, but it's a canon.
Who cares?
I mean, nothing would stop Bart from maybe, well, unless he needed like parents' permission. I'm sure Bart would have found a way to acquire it sometime later. So,
Well,
like,
this is pre-Pirates Bay.
Yeah. I mean, I guess he'd need like their permission to rent it at a video store. I would like to believe in my head that Bart did get to see it at some point at least.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. That's a thinker. I don't think I have a straight answer for that.
Well, did you ever notice that one line in the movie that doesn't make sense unless you're really hardcore into it? And, that was when Lisa came in after seeing it, and Bart was like, "How was it?" It wasn't that great. Be honest. It was the most amazing thing I ever saw in my life. And you wouldn't believe all the cameos that they got. Dustin Hoffman, Michael Jackson. They didn't use your real name, but you knew who they were.
I wonder if that was a nod to Stark Raving Dad. It
was.
Yeah.
It was a nod to Stark Raving Dad, and it was also a nod to the Lisa the
Substitute. Shit, you're right.
Yeah.
Damn.
He was not credited as Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah, it was Sam Eddick that he called himself.
Yeah.
Real subtle there.
Marge gets a job.
I actually watched that one earlier today just because I hadn't watched that one in a while. I was like, I'll watch this one.
And I like it.
It's still funny. Behold the horrors of the slanty shanty.
Yeah, that's what I call Smash JT.
I know very little about that guy. But
you don't want to know any more about him.
Yeah, I've heard enough.
Exactly, but no, he went and he spent $9,000 to build a thing in his backyard, like a little shed, to do his YouTube videos, and I'm like, it's a fucking slanty shanty.
Oh boy, I remember going to see stuff like that, and like tourist attractions, like upside down houses and whatnot.
Behold, cue ball, the man with no hair. You Kid on the Block. That was Laura. That was a great one too.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely one of the best ones they ever did.
I love that bit with the video game about the.
If I hit the remorse button,
Larry the Looter. That was
Larry the Looter was Bart's birthday. Okay, you know what? Real quick before we go any further, how many video games did we see in The Simpsons and we wanted to play them?
All of them?
Yep. I wanted to play Larry the Looter.
You know which one I wanted to play, and this is pretty counter to what games I'm normally into.
My Dinner with Andre.
Yeah, I want to play the fucking My Dinner with Andre video game. Tell me more.
Tell me more.
It's like, the funny
No,
thing
okay.
is that almost
No.
feels like it predicted like all the Telltale games later, like, you know, The Wolf Among Us and Tales from the Borderlands and all that. Like that is a sort of video game that was not really something that was in the 90s, but it would get realized later, just not with that specific property.
You
I
know,
don't know. Days X.
eh,
Yeah, Deus Ex does touch a good deal upon that, true, even if there's also a lot of shooting in it. Immersive Sims, I can see with the dialogue trees they take, that is a good point.
I remember
Well,
that.
the only thing from Days X though is that no matter what, you go against UNATCO.
At least, yes. That, as well you damn should.
Hey, you guys are getting all Greek
Right.
on me now. I remember
Well,
seeing two games in the early seasons that I wanted to play, even though you never actually got to see the actual game itself. Escape from Grandma's House and Robert Goulet Destroyer.
I never saw the Robert Goulet Destroyer.
Yeah, you only see the marquee in the arcade.
But isn't there a game out there pretty much where there is? Because my kid was watching it just now. Queso was playing it. Grandma's House.
Was
where
it-
you escape from the granny.
Well, if one of them finally happened. Well, technically,
First horror game.
Lee
someone did do that.
Well, think about this. Lee Carvalho's putting challenge finally happened, so
Oh yeah, you're right.
Well, I need Bone Storm or Go to Hell.
I would love to
Yeah.
play Bone Storm just to play Bone Storm. So again, my name is Thrill Ho.
Well, at least we have Bloodstorm by Incredible Technologies. Yes.
Oh, what about Dash Dingo?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Down
when
Under.
you
Yeah, or in-
had the PlayStation in a room.
You're in deep didgeridoo.
That was about as close as just take it.
Oh wait, of course I gotta quote what Donkey Kong said. It's the company's fault for making you want it so much. That is a painfully real line.
Yeah.
She's so rich, she'd never notice. Oh Lord, they made a Waterworld game? Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, they did one on the Virtual Boy.
Oh yeah, that was not very good. I think it was
No.
made. It and the SNES Waterworld game were made by Ocean, who was not good. But we did get a really good soundtrack out of them, at least. So there's something.
The soundtrack was good.
At least, yeah. Dean Evans made the most of it, but
All right, if I call
Next episode. Go ahead.
I'll call a quick timeout here. It's going on midnight on our side of the country, so I'm gonna have to wrap this up soon. So, because I'm starting to feel pretty tired myself.
I feel you.
So
Earlier, for me, I think that the Simpsons probably started going downhill. I don't want to say it was necessarily Frank Grimes, but the Vegas episode was definitely the first big chink in the armor.
yes, Snarbu, I think, has a few things to say about Homer's enemy. He just posted a few minutes ago, so I implore him to say a few things about it. I like what that episode was trying to do. I'm just not sure if it did it in the most agreeable way, let's say. And some people would probably say that is the point, but I do know that Homer's Enemy has its anti-fans. Yeah, it was a huge bummer also. It was a major fuck you of an episode. Point or no, it's not exactly a feel-good everyday show that I would put on, because there are far more that are very much more hilarious than it that don't also feel like getting a tire iron to the face, but yeah.
I'm really interested in hearing where Snrub's going with this.
Yeah, in the most cynical way possible.
And I'm sorry, it's Snarb, but I said Snrub, like, Mr. Boons. I agree with what Rub is saying.
I will say, though, on the plus side, Bart did get a factory.
At least, yeah.
That
Well,
That was fucking funny.
I'm more of a fan of the B plot of that episode than the A plot.
yeah, no, you know what? Yeah, no, the B plot was actually pretty. There wasn't much to it, but it was actually quite funny. And I like what Milhouse said to say. Well, first it started to fall down, then it fell down, fell over.
Yeah.
I have not remembered many lines precisely, as unfortunately my dumb memory just kind of twists the exact precises as time heads on. And,
Okay, everyone, tuck your pants into your shoes.
the rats, yeah.
Rat. Oh yeah, where are the rats gonna go?
I love that bit too. Yeah.
Now, something I
All
want.
right. Well, one thing I want to ask really quick.
Go ahead.
What is your favorite Mo Sizlak side hustle?
Which one?
The orca whale.
Oh God! Oh yes, his side hustles. The orca whale was probably the best one.
All right, I gotta let this one loose. Hello, Mo. We know you're the one behind this, so knock it off, or we're going to the cops. No, I'll take care of it. Okay, the jig is up. Everybody knows. Let's go. And then he breaks open the crates, and the pandas fucking come out. All right, on the way.
That was a great bit too. And also, I just remember, I forget what episode this was, but Didi Mao when he was running the Russian roulette operation.
There's always some shady shit going on in that back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That is actually an underrated running gag that I didn't realize. Yeah, there are a lot of things he does that we don't know about.
But to me, it's just the pandas one was just the greatest though. Just because, no, take care of it.
That was funny. Yes.
Yep.
That's the feds. Cheese it. Now, okay. I did want to touch on this one briefly.
Sure.
Homer's Barbershop Quartet.
Oh yeah.
Now, it's basically their version of the Beatles, and as Mike is well aware, I hate the Beatles.
Yep.
Although I can deal with them individually.
Except Lennon.
Yeah, Lennon was a piece of shit.
He was garbage.
Yeah.
Totally.
But now, here's the question for you. Who here amongst the three of us has actually acted out a scene with a professional Beatles impersonator?
What?
In what sense?
Literally acted out a Simpsons bit that involved one of the Beatles with a professional Beatle impersonator.
I have not. Apparently you have.
I have.
Where are you going with this? Huh.
I used to work security, and one of the places I worked, they had a revolving bunch of shows that would be in residency at the theater for a while. And this one was like a celebrity impersonators, but it was all about music. So I'm standing there talking to one of my supervisors one day, and here comes the Beatles. On the inside, I'm like, what? And but they came up and they asked the way to the employee cafeteria.
Oh my God! Where did you get that brownie?
You know the bit.
I love it.
Here's the kicker. The supervisor I was talking to at that time was a huge Simpsons fan.
Awesome.
So I decided to score a couple of brownie points. Pun intended. I was like, all right, which one of you guys is George Harrison? And he's like, oh, it's me. Hey, come here for a sec, would you? It's like, I'm a supervisor, big Simpsons fan. You be able to acting out a small scene with me from the show? Oh, okay, what you got in mind? So I outlined the scene for him. And sure, I'm like, all right, Jeff, watch this. And it's like, okay, he comes up and he's like, hello, Homer, I'm George Harrison. Oh my God. Where did you get that brownie? Over there, there's a whole table full of them. Oh, man.
What a nice fellow.
He even finished it with that.
Awesome. That's excellent.
Oh, my supervisor was practically on the floor. The other three Beatles were laughing. It was great.
That is pretty amazing and wholesome, I'd say.
There are, I don't think I've ever met anyone else who could make that same dubious claim to fame. I'm not sure if they'd want to, but I enjoyed it.
I would have
The only
too.
claim to fame that I have is that every written review that I have ever produced has always got at least one Simpsons gag in it.
Yeah.
And that's how much I love The Simpsons.
Well, I can tell you, I'm going to keep up the theme with when I do the sequel to Eating Candy in Outer Space. There will be a bit from The Simpsons opening that book too.
I love it.
Nice.
And I'm continuing on that theme as well. I'm currently writing a review for Night Trap, the 25th anniversary. And there's two Simpsons scenes. There, at least one is going to make it in. The other, I'm working on it right now, trying to see if it's practical. But the one, I'm basically talking about how gigantic RVs suddenly wind up in my driveway, like in the opening for Night Trap. And then it shows Marge looking out the window, and you see Flowers by Irene. Looks like our cover's blown. There's that, and part of the episode, because I've already reviewed Night Trap, there's not much else I could say about it aside from what they've improved upon it with the 25th anniversary edition. So a lot of this is going to be a bit of an educational review because it's talking about the history behind how all this shit came to be. Like where Atari went tits up thanks to the Great American Crash of '83.
Yep.
And Nolan Bushnell and Steve Wozniak formed Axlon. They went to Hasbro. They came up with the Control Vision. And one of the parts is detailing how things fell apart between Axlon and Hasbro. And I'm going to try to intersplice it with, ladies and gentlemen, the Homer. And have the curtain rise up. There's the Coleco Vision or the Control Vision, and you got Herb. Ugh! You know, you hear the squeaking. What's the sticker price? And I'm gonna try to do a voiceover for it. So instead of $82,000, I'm either gonna talk about the sticker price for the console itself, which for 1987 was gonna be about $299.
Yikes.
Or the fact that Hasbro sunk about $12 million into the project.
That one sounds a little better, actually.
I think so, yeah.
So it should just, what's the sticker price? $12 million! This monstrosity cost $12 million! What have I done? I'm ruined!
Poor
That's
Herb.
a pretty good assessment of Night Trap, I agree.
Yeah. So, I mean, at the very least, the FBI one is going to be in there just because I've done it and it works.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I've always made it a point to include some sort of a Simpsons quote. Like, even when I did Jurassic Park on the Sega Genesis, I had Alan Grant climbing up the things. Well, I don't need safety gloves because I'm Homer Simpson. Everybody gets shocked.
That's always been a thing that I've done. I speak fluent Simpsons quote, or at least I used to.
Yeah.
And my Betty pointed out a meme to me once where it's got this guy and he's pouring oil onto a salad. And it's like, me, the salad is like people I know, and the oil jar is gigantic and is labeled Simpsons quotes.
You would have actually really enjoyed the Night Trap review that I did before this, because you'll never believe what I quoted.
I'm gonna have to go look this up.
All right, I'll spoil it, but you have to see it in action because it worked perfectly. So you've obviously played Night Trap. Is it safe to say we've all seen or played Night Trap?
Oh yeah.
I'm familiar with it, yeah.
All right. Have we all seen how funny the guys walk?
Yes.
Yeah, those goofy shade fellows.
The augers, right?
Yep. Yo, check this out. Black guys drive a car like this. Boom, doo, yeah, but white guys, they drive a car like this. There is actually an auger bent over like the same way that he was bent over driving the car.
Oh,
so
nice.
It worked perfectly.
It's true. It's true. We're so
Yeah,
lame.
and that's in there. It's true. We're so lame.
Oh, it was great.
Yep.
That is honestly one of my favorite gags. Next to when I was doing Splatterhouse, actually, Dyer would appreciate this one. It still doesn't explain that there may be a Biggie man or Biggie men in the house.
I think I remember that.
You know the window's shut. I'll get the gun.
Oh,
There was so for every review that I do, there is at least one Simpsons gag in every episode, and that's just how much I love the Simpsons, and it's how applicable Simpsons is to anything in life, in media, literature, jokes, tragedy, self-reflection, self-growth. There's always something that you can apply the Simpsons to, and that's the amazing impact that the show has had over my life, let alone over the last 40 years. Granted, like just like life, it hasn't been a great 40 years, but it's been a 40 years.
hard to believe sometimes.
I mean, what I just want to know is, am I more or less of a fan to have been watching it all the way up to season 33 that I'm at now? I feel like I'm less of one somehow, honestly.
I think you're more of one that you know that the quality has gone down and you're still watching it.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like I'm just kind of committed, and like I hope it'll feel like I've reached the top of a mountain, like bruised and bloodied though I am, that I would have accomplished something for fully catching up. I mean,
falling down Springfield Gorge over and over again.
Exactly.
But when you reach the top of that mountain, you can be all like, "Woohoo!"
Yep, overshoot the extreme, max the envelope, and so on.
I need to remember it as it was, and it's just I know that it is not going to be relatable to me, and I think, like I said, that's part of the relatability, was knowing that I had a dad who was like Homer Simpson, not a stupid idiot, but a frustrated guy who had his hands full, that tried, didn't always succeed, but damn it, he tried, and he knew he did love his kids.
Yeah, absolutely. And
there's memories of my dad, and then it's weird for me because I always used to joke, wow, I'm 8 years old, just like Lisa. Wow, I'm 10 years, just like Bart. Wow, I'm 34 years old, just like Marge. And now I'm 36, just like Homer. And then I became 37 later on. Or wait, did he go to 38? I'm not sure. But now I've passed Homer. Am I going to make it to Grandpa?
I think I'm already there, to be fair.
yeah, I mean,
Abe was in his 70s, though.
Honestly, there's times I wonder if I'm going to make it that far. So I'll just take my grandpa-ness now. If nothing else, I am an actual grandfather, so there is that.
You got that. Yell at some clouds. And, hello. We all know that I won't be around very much longer, so I want to give you your inheritance so I can watch you enjoy it. Here's a box of mint-condition 1918 Liberty Head silver dollars. Which in those days was called a walking bird. It's funny. My grandma was exactly like Grandpa.
Oh, nice.
Ew, what smells like mustard? Oh, there sure are a lot of ugly people in your neighborhood. Look at that one. Oh, my glaucoma just got worse. Hello? I can't unbuckle my seatbelt. Hello? That was my grandma.
Grandpa,
but you know what?
Did you sit on the pie?
I sure hope so. I mean,
My favorite Grandpa Simpson moment, though, before you wrap up, I know you're leaning towards that because it's late by you guys, but my favorite Grandpa Simpson moment, we flushed the gator down the toilet, but it got stuck halfway, and now we got to feed it. I'll bet you think you're pretty smart. Well, you ain't going to get a piece of me. Oh, doggone it. Fucking alligator.
Well,
I got to show that to my kid because she loves anything animals.
Well, if it isn't the Tooth Fairy.
Oh, that was the classic. Well, if it isn't the Tooth Fairy.
Oh, yeah. Grandpa's great. One
He
day,
is. He's got his moments.
one day, I'm gonna go ahead. I mean, I've used the whole "it'll happen to you" thing in real life several
I
times.
was going to say that's even applied a lot to me, especially for its original use. I just don't get like almost any fucking music today, and
You know what?
Mm.
That was probably the hardest line ever. I used to be
It-
with it, but then they changed what it was, and now I wait. What?
What I'm with isn't
it?
it.
What's
Anymore.
it? It
And
seems
what's that
weird and
seems
scary to me.
It'll happen to you.
I
mean,
used
right.
it a lot for a reason. It's still fucking relevant.
Yeah.
Well, look at us old school gamers watching people fight over wokeness in video games and how their video games are being censored. And I'm just like, you fuckers have no idea.
Nope.
Nope. Fall in a ditch and break your neck. Da-da-da-da-da. That's all I'm saying.
You merely adopted gaming. I was born into it, molded by it.
You do not want to get me into a Bane argument because I will fucking spend all night telling you how much I hate The Dark Knight.
Yeah, The Dark Knight Rises is not a very good movie. I gotta agree.
Yeah,
Where are the other trucks going?
Yep.
it's too bad that you weren't around for the superhero game stream we did. You had a field day with that one.
Especially playing the Death and Return of Superman.
Oh, God, I hate that game. It is so...
Yep.
Ugh.
There's only two good Superman games as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
Superman for the Atari 2600 and the Taito arcade game from '87.
Valid. Yeah.
You know what? That would be an interesting topic one day for a Dyer's Place.
Okay.
Video games and movies that we always wanted to play.
Well, I did have this idea for a Mac Ventures type of game based on Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh, wow.
I'm surprised they never made a DOS game out of that.
Yeah.
That would be pretty great, yeah.
But I mean, do you remember in Superman 3 when they were shooting the missiles? Wasn't that a DOS game?
No, it was something Atari did specifically for the movie.
Yeah, why in the fuck is this not a game?
They had actually a game planned. I played the prototype. And I think it was going to be for the Atari 8, the Atari computer line, like the 400 and 800.
It would have to be because you'd never see graphics like this on a 2600.
No. But yeah, that was right around the time the industry was imploding in America too, so
Wow, that's crazy.
that was also the only good thing about that movie. I mean,
No, I thought there was other good parts to that movie.
we're talking about Superman 3 here. I mean, it's not quite as bad as Superman 4. It's not quite as good as Superman 2, which in itself is not that great.
Exactly. So what does Superman 3 have? A really amazing sequence of Superman getting drunk, a memorable scene of a very scary looking woman getting dragged into a computer
Yep.
and turned into a cyborg, which traumatized the fuck out of me.
And it had Richard Pryor.
Yes.
For better or
And it
worse.
had Richard Pryor getting drunk.
Yeah. And skiing down a skyscraper, I think, at one point.
Yep. People complained about the comedy in that movie, but what the fuck else did it really have? What else did it really have going for it? At least it embraced it.
But that's...
And the opening sequence wasn't. When you look at it for what it was well put together.
Yeah, I'm just not a fan of that movie.
Well, yeah, because it's not a great movie.
Right.
But still, seeing Superman, what are you looking at? Huh? I was like, that's pretty cool.
Well, there have been a couple of fan edits that have been done, which actually, lose all the crappy stuff.
And they make it more serious.
Well, not necessarily more serious, but definitely more of a movie. I
Yeah.
think someone actually combined Superman 3 and 4 into one movie and removed the garbage.
The best way to combine Superman 3 and 4 into a movie and removing the garbage is just by removing the garbage and not putting Superman 4 in it.
Yeah, see? I mean, that works.
So there you go. There's your fan edit. Just watch Superman 3.
Pretty much.
But I could have swore, yeah, that I guess they just never made a video game out of it,
Nope.
which is wild.
It was just in the prototype stage. That's all I can really tell you.
Well, I think at that point is when the video game industry was crashing and burning, wasn't it?
It was. So, but that it didn't actually, because, the Atari PCs actually kept going for some time. Much like, PCs in general.
Well, when it comes to the great video game crash, it's kind of like when I was talking about with the Night Trap thing about how it's just the Atari crash.
Yeah.
That was it.
Well, it also took so many different companies and other game consoles down with it. So,
well, who really went down with it? Because when you look at the main three in America, you had Hasbro, you had Mattel, and you had Atari. Hasbro and Mattel, they didn't really care much because they had the toy line to back it up. Atari went down the crapper.
Oh yeah,
because it's what they had. I mean, did they stop making ColecoVision and did they stop making Intellivision?
Yes,
totally.
Mm-hmm.
But Hasbro and Mattel obviously survived. I mean, shit.
Oh yeah.
If you think about it, look at 1987. Talking about Night Trap, you had Nolan Bushnell and Wozniak get together and partner with Hasbro to make a new console. But the problem with all that was, and this is one thing I'm going to really highlight here in the episode, I have it right here too, where everything fell apart basically because the deal that they had structured is that Axlon was going to have rights to all the arcade games, while Hasbro would have rights to all the console games. Hasbro did not like the idea of these games being put in the arcades because it would hurt the console market, where Axon felt that it was necessary to do it the Atari method of putting it in the arcades, thinking that people will want to take this home.
Yeah.
And the ironic thing of all this is, I didn't mean to cut you off, but the ironic thing out of all this is that if they had put Night Trap in the arcades, it would have worked.
Certainly a possibility.
No, not a possibility, because you know what? It would have fit right in with Space Ace, Dragon's Lair.
Yes, the FMV games.
Yep. Well, what is Night Trap?
It's an FMV game. You got a point there.
So that's the fucked up and ironic thing is that in a weird way, Axlon was right, but Hasbro was right too, because why would they want to buy the console shit? And by putting it on the consoles, look what we got. And granted, the Control Vision was going to be built to run this stuff, and VHS is better than the CDs at that point, because we all know that the Sega CD didn't have any hardware encoders or decoders.
Right.
So the developers had to make it on the discs themselves, and that's where we got our screwed up aspect ratios.
Mm-hmm.
It's really ironic how everybody was wrong, but everybody was right.
Yeah. What I was going to say about Atari is they didn't die completely, of course.
Yeah.
They were. I think the home division was sold off to the Tramiels, who did Commodore, and then the arcade division was sold elsewhere. I think to Midway.
Yeah, but don't you honestly think that Jack Tramiel did way more damage to the industry?
Oh yeah, absolutely. In fact, did you ever hear about his? Not sure how much of an urban legend this is, but basically his reaction when the 7800, which was just about to go to market, was brought to him.
Which part?
All right, basically the engineers brought it to him and we've had this on the slate to be released, blah blah blah. They put it on his desk. He looked at it and he shoved it off the desk and he said, "Get this shit out of here. We don't do video games. Got it?" So it's like, oh, yeah, well. And that delayed the 7800 from being launched, because when it finally
was them, they had their shit together.
Mm-hmm. But what happened was when the Renaissance happened, he saw a way to possibly get back in on things and actually, released it to compete with the NES.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't do as well as he would have liked, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Thing got a second chance with life years later, though. And I'm glad it did, because there have been so many excellent games that have come out for the thing.
Well, see, it's funny, because do you think that mostly what Tramiel cared about was just building computers?
Yes.
And that was it. He didn't care about stupid video games, you know?
Yeah. Well. But anyway, to get any further into that would be a stream for another time, I think.
I was going to say, you wanted to do something not related to video games, and you ended up talking about video games anyway.
Oh, and you're going to complain about this, are you? Well, I see how it is, Mike.
I got nothing.
Exactly.
I'm tired. Sorry, I'm.
And you know what?
Focused.
I'm not out of order. You're out of order. The whole stinking system is out of order. You want the truth? You want the truth? You can't handle the truth. Because when you put your hand into a pile of goo that was your best friend's face, you'll know what to do. Forget it,
Marge.
It's Chinatown.
I know I said that's not my favorite episode, and that's just a blatant recycling of several movie quotes, but it still cracks me up for some dumb reason.
I also like the bit where they're like, when they've got Silent Bob on trial, you can't handle the truth. I decry your truth handling ability.
Bah, no truth handler, you.
Called him Silent Bob.
Did I?
Yes.
That shows you how tired I am.
Yep. Look for a review of Skewniverse stream sometime in the future.
Yeah, we might do that.
What you want, you smarmy little bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah, we may do a view askew stream. We'll see.
Oh boy, I have to say about Clerks 3.
Yeah, Clerks 3, that was kind of a gut punch.
Kind of a piece of shit.
It was something. I'll say that.
It was a piece of shit.
And you'll say that.
I absolutely will.
Ah, well. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and call it for the night then.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, no problem.
So I hope you enjoyed our first real non-video game stream, despite what Mike said at the end.
Well, you know what? Like The Simpsons, I think we're going to have to come back for another season.
Yeah, we may have to.
Might as well.
Cover all these years in one podcast episode.
It's impossible. Not unless we have like a 12-hour podcast.
I mean, we could, but I'm not going to.
I'm not doing it either.
Yep.
I did my 24-hour shit. I ain't doing it no more.
I hear you.
Totally fair.
Never again.
All right, so thanks to everyone for coming in. Everyone is still here watching us and listening to us kind of tiredly babble right now.
Yep.
So, and I'm always going to do a little self-promotion at the end. Yes, my books are still available, and if you want digital copies, contact me directly. So, all right.
Well, I think a nice way to close it out would be with a classic Mo Sizlak number. We know the words. Are you ready?
Go for it.
1, 2, 3. Money gets you one more round. So drink it
down,
you stupid clown. Money gets you one more round,
then you're out on your ass. Ow, my spine.
Oh, my spine.
And of course, we should probably say at least one final thing.
That? I was saying boo words.
I was saying boo words.
Oh.
Oh wait, all right. Then I guess to close it out using a Simpsons quote, a garage. Oh, somebody up there likes me.
My ultimate quote: these things happen. $8.
Mine is, oh, I wish I hadn't killed that fish. All right, guys. So thanks again, everybody, and we will see you next time.
Yep.
Kiss me, Patty. I don't have cooties. Hiya!
Take care, everyone.
Be good.
A ride on the famous Duff Beer Blimp.
A ride on the Duff Blimp.
Hey there, Blimpy boy, flying through the sky so fancy free.
so fancy-free. Hey there, blimpy boy, flying through the sky so fancy-free. Hey there, blimpy boy, flying through the sky so fancy-free.
See the circular pattern on those fields? That's from central pivot irrigation. Wow. Now let's see what's happening at the Super Bowl.
Oops, sorry.
Hey there, blimpy boy, flying through the sky so fancy-free. Hey there, blimpy boy, flying through the sky so fancy-free. Hey there, blimpy boy, flying through the sky so fancy-free. Hey there, blimpy boy, flying through the sky so fancy-free.
And the winner of the blimp ride is Ned Flanders.
Oh my God!
Oh, young man, you need to do some serious boning. Work that pelvis. Work that pelvis. You need to do some serious boning. Work that pelvis. Work that pelvis. You need to do some serious boning.